talk. Rappers want my feature, but they always tryna lowball. I done picked it up just like a phone call. Wonder why I'm hot, got a cold heart, and I'm on it go, 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 go. Whoa, 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 whoa. I go paint the picture like Mozart. I've been on my go talk. Lately how I'm coming, I got no flaws. They don't wanna stop me, but I won't pause. The flow like the go wall. I go make that money, make the dough fall. Yeah, I'm gon' shake it up and make the snow fall. Yeah, work with me and we gon' have to both ball. I'm trying with the Rari like a go-kart. Go, go, go. Ain't no one can stop it, yeah, you know I'm going up. Yeah, I feel like Giannis. Hold up, let's be honest. Need the Bucs and all the comments. Perfect timing when I'm shining. They be mad that I'm still grinding. When they switch and I'm still solid. Getting paper like it's college. Or like on a pilot. Shorty mad cause now I'm popping. Ain't no way that I can stop it. Spread my wings and now I'm flying. Hit the slide and now I'm gliding. They so shocked that I didn't find it. How they not know what the time is when I've been on my go talk. Rappers want my feature, but they always tryna lowball. I done picked it up just like a phone call. Wonder why I'm hot, got a cold heart, and I'm on it go, 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 go. Whoa, 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 whoa. I go paint the picture like Mozart. I've been on my go talk. Lately how I'm coming, I got no flaws. They don't wanna stop me, but I won't pause. The flow like the go wall. I know that they wanted what I got, let them rock, yeah. I tell them go get it when it's hot, don't stop, yeah. I've been down 10 since the drop. I've been heating up, I'm getting hot, got a pot, yeah. I'm gon' be a millionaire, I've been going silly, yeah. Top won't be the ceiling for me, thought that I'ma see you there. Mad that I ain't got the bag, it's alright, I never care. I won't get the last laugh, you gon' see me everywhere. They just mad to see that I could really be about it. All these rats and these racks, they see I be stylish. Started at the bottom, now the boy is on the rising. Haters going silent, ain't no one can stop it. I've been on my go talk. Rappers want my feature, but they always tryna lowball. I done picked it up just like a phone call. Wonder why I'm hot, got a cold heart, and I'm on it go, 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 go. Whoa, 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 whoa. I go paint the picture like Mozart. I've been on my go talk. Lately how I'm coming, I got no flaws. They don't wanna stop me, but I won't pause. The flow like the go wall.
Wait, I just had my first pink. I ain't have a job in 2 years, it was way harder than you think. Never thought I'd be the one to make it happen, I thought I would just sing. Funny how things change, not a girl I wanna really wanna link. Wait, everything 180, huh? Next stop a Mercedes, huh? Why my ego inflated? Cause old haters outdated. And to all the girls I dated, I'm really sorry I made it. And we can't even have a conversation anymore, my number's not the same. Damn, I'm on the same bullshit like a matador, and the VA sound like a dinosaur. Pretty little bitch that I ignore. She wanna get nailed to a 2x4. Everybody say they wanna see me score, but these days I don't really know no more. Hey, motherfuckers really hurt my core. If I keep going cool, they gon' pull my core. I'm on the same bullshit like a matador, and the VA sound like a dinosaur. Pretty little bitch that I ignore. She wanna get nailed to a 2x4. Everybody say they wanna see me score, but these days I don't really know no more. Hey, motherfuckers really hurt my core. If I keep going cool, they gon' pull my cord. And that's why I don't really got no friends. Circle same size since I don't know when. And I don't really know who want me to win, but that's the result of the city I'm in. I work like a slave, trying to get everyone paid. I want everything like Tim. What do I say? I just wanna pull up in the rain, make a car dash like Kim. Smile on her face, she can't wait till I get paid. I'ma take her far from her sins. Everything changed, it's a bigger picture in the frame. I ain't never looked back since. Said she want a steak, we already went to every place, so I had to take her out the crib. Incredible taste, but it won't last longer than a date. Because I'm on the same bullshit like a matador, and the VA sound like a dinosaur. Pretty little bitch that I ignore. She wanna get nailed to a 2x4. Everybody say they wanna see me score, but these days I don't really know no more. Hey, motherfuckers really hurt my core. If I keep going cool, they gon' pull my cord. I'm on the same bullshit like a matador, and the VA sound like a dinosaur. Pretty little bitch that I ignore. She wanna get nailed to a 2x4. Everybody say they wanna see me score, but these days I don't really know no more. Hey, motherfuckers really hurt my core. If I keep going cool, they gon' pull my cord.
bluffing. Yeah, they always switch sides, so I came through the loving. No, I came through the loving, so they always switch sides, so I came through the loving. You know, the dash now, ayy. So I started from nothing. I got money on my mind and I know that it's coming. I know people switch sides, so I can't do the loving. When you down, they won't ride, everybody just bluffing. Now they hitting on my line, cause they see how I'm coming. And I'm finally doing fine, I've been counting these hundreds. And my baby gon' ride, she is not with the front. So I put in overtime, but look what I'm becoming. You can look me in my eyes, don't believe all the judging. So I do this for my people, we the best, you know. I got lots of problems, others stressed, you know. I'm just praying for the days I'm counting dancing more. I've been riding with my brothers, for the rest they hold. I'm knowing I'ma make it, I just gotta be patient. I come from nothing, now I'm about to make a statement. Bitches probably want me, but they can't even face it. Ay, no, they can't even face it. So my body's about to make it out the basement. If she for me, then you know there's no replacement. I've been outside, you see that I'm dripping, little baby know that I'm fly. No love for my city, who thought I'd make it this high? I know that y'all fake and the real in disguise. I've been through the most, I'm holding all this pain inside. These bitches would dump me, now I don't really gotta try. I'm stuck in all my habits, but I gotta have it. Spend a couple bands on a jacket. All this money on me, I keep stacking. Why do y'all acting? Why do y'all capping? Can't really say much, but I'm back up on my bullshit. We don't gotta front, my buddies there with the movement. Keep shit blunt, you cross it, someone get ruthless. I don't got time for no drama, that shit is useless. Got no time for no bullshit, no time for a bitch. If you keep it real, best believe I never switch on you. All the money in the world, I won't switch on you. I could get you all the pearls, diamonds glitz on you. If I got the whole world, I be missing you. I could drip you on our money and Da Vinci too. Got the labels always calling cause we making moves. I ain't stopping till I got it and I swear that shit true. So my buddy's better make it out the basement. If she for me, then you know there's no replacement. I've been outside, you see that I'm dripping, little baby know that I'm fly. No love for my city, who thought I'd make it this high? I know that y'all fake and the real in disguise. I've been through the most, I'm holding all this pain inside. These bitches would dump me, now I don't really gotta try. They gon' hate you when you down, and I swear that shit true. They gon' hate you when you down, and I swear that shit true. They gon' hate you when you down, but we still making moves. Yeah, yeah. You know the dash now, ayy.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of the Brian Mansell Show. As always, I'm your host, Brian Mansell. I'm a sports media professional who's been working in the industry for a couple years now, and I've got a vodcast, podcast, whatever you want to call it. It's the Brian Mansell Show regardless, and we talk about all different kinds of sports. We talk about football, baseball, basketball, football. I probably said football twice now. Hockey. If we need to, we'll go into lacrosse. We'll talk about cricket. We'll talk about pretty much anything. Anything is worth talking about. Nothing is pretty much out of the realm of possibility. We'll talk about anything on this show. But again, you all know what's going on. We know the big things we want to talk about today. And you see them all here on this list. Here on this list, you've got week 9. Yeah, my team's lost 4 in a row. You guys can see. We're not having a good time. And I find it funny that I'm the one giving out advice to people and therapy stuff when it comes to the fact that my team is so bad, I might actually need the therapy in the end. It's bad. It's pretty bad. But I am going to sit here and listen to everybody's questions, take everybody's questions, answer everybody's problems. You know, anything that's going on, I'll be entirely active to listen, hear you guys out, and help you out anyway. If you're coming on here also to gloat that your team won or something, listen, I'm open to that too. We'll talk it out a little bit. And again, this is open to everybody. This is a call-in show today. I'll be opening up in a bit after we finish up our World Series topics. We'll go through that, and then I'll open up officially the call-ins. I'm going to start it off, though, with World Series. I know the order looks a little out of whack, but World Series is going to lead it off. Then we're going to go to the Week 9 preview. Then we're going to go to college football weekend recap, and then we're going to take a look into the MLB offseason. Because there's a lot of storylines in the MLB offseason that's just not... They're just something to watch. Because the offseason is the time where every major move's happening. You guys already know the big story. Where's Shohei Ohtani going? Rumors of everywhere he could go. We've got managerial moves. The Mets are putting in requests for people. It's a little bit messy. Even the fact that Buck Showalter could have another manager job already. Again, like I said, nothing is out of the realm of possibility with the MLB this offseason. But the World Series. When we were last active on the show, which I believe was on Tuesday last week. Again, I apologize for that. I've been battling the flu and illnesses since about Thursday. And that was just from my work schedule. I've been throwing me out of whack mentally and everything. So I'm back now. We're doing this. We're coming back here. We're going to have a full week of coverage. Tomorrow, though, there will be no morning show. Just giving you guys a heads up. No morning show. We'll try to do a night show. If we can't do a night show, I'll try to do a play-by-play when I get home from work. That's the plan. I'll try my best to kind of do like a play-by-play stream if I can. That would probably be the more likely scenario tomorrow. Wednesday, we'll go into a regular show again. And then back to regular schedule for the most part the rest of the week. But again, today, it's Week 9 review. We're going over everything that happened, every game. And I'll be taking in calls to hear your guys' thoughts again on NFL, any questions you have. If you want to vent, you can vent. That's fine. College football, we'll go over all the biggest things that happened, including USC completely falling. And, this whole debate about Caleb Williams crying after the game, we'll talk about that too. World Series, final thoughts. I never got to finish out my thoughts on the World Series. I'm going to give them out here. And there may be a person who calls in. I feel like there's going to be one person who calls in about this because I have an opinion about one specific Mets player, and I got a Mets fan who's been dying to talk to me about this because it's a bad debate we want to have. So we've been dying to have this debate. He's going to come in. He's going to have a talk with me likely later on. And then just, again, look in the MLB offseason. But again, if you guys are here for the first time in the chat, please consider following us if you're on Twitch. We are 4 followers. We've been 20 followers on the show. It goes a great way in helping us get more exposure and grow the show on Twitch. So anything helps. So thank you guys so much in advance. And if you're watching this on YouTube, of all places, YouTube, please consider subscribing. We have a lot of content planned to come forward soon. I'm working on some cool imperialism work for college football. 259 teams facing off to become the ultimate champion, who's the #1 college football team in America. And we're doing it like a war, like the game of Risk. It's really cool. I'm going to do like a whole series out of that. It might be an hour-long episodes each. They're pretty good, though. They're going to be really entertaining. I promise you that. They're going to be really entertaining. So, again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. And with that, let's get into the show. First off, the World Series. This is where we're starting. We're going to start over here in the World Series today. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. I was watching the World Series rooting for the Dbacks the whole way. I really was. But, you can't control the things that happen with Major League Baseball in the World Series, And as much as people like to say, oh, things are scripted, things are this, things are that. Once you're actually in the industry and you're seeing these things firsthand, right? Because, again, I've seen things. And I could tell you right now, not one sport in this world is scripted. I mean that to you guys. I mean that so seriously. The only sport in the world that is scripted, by far, is wrestling. Because it's absolutely designed to be scripted. That's what I'm telling you. I've watched it. I know it's exactly the way it goes. I am currently looking at the moment. There we go. Got it. I got the highlights I'm looking for. Perfect. So I found what I'm looking for. And we're going to join into the highlights scene. Shall we? Welcome everybody to the highlights scene. If you guys don't know, if you're here for the show for the first time, this is where I show the YouTube video for the highlights I discuss. And if you're hearing any noise in the background, that's my dog hanging out in the room. Now, let's go ahead and get this going. So here we are. This is the YouTube window, everybody, right here. Bruce Bochy, the manager of the Texas Rangers with 3 World Series to his name at this point in his career, looking to add a 4th. Zach Gallen on the mound. I told you guys going into Game 5, Gallen needed to have his best stuff on if he was going to beat Nathan Eovaldi and get the best of him. And here we are in the first inning, and he strikes out. Evan Carter gets out of this one. Shutout 1-2-3 first top. Now you go to the bottom of the first. Eovaldi taking the mound, one of the most dominant pitchers in baseball this year, especially in the American League. They do a quick flashback showing what happened with Eovaldi when he was with LA. And the results there when he made his MLB debut. And here, he walks Corbin Carroll to start, gets him on base. Nobody out. Tom Marte at the plate. They get him on the first strike, but Corbin Carroll is safe. Now you got a man on second. And Moreno, 1 out, takes a little swing, goes to shortstop, goes to first, advances the runner to third, but there's 2 outs. Now runners on the corners for Tommy Pham, who's been one of the hottest hitters in the postseason. And they get the force out at second to get out of the jam and retire the side. Now you're in the top of the second here. Mitch Garver swinging on a low pitch from Gallen. Gallen was definitely showing his best stuff in this one. Nathaniel Lowe hits this one out to the second baseman, gets the quick out to Walker, and we're out of the second. Going to the bottom now. Here goes Gurriel getting a nice little roller into center. Makes it to second base here as Longoria gets a nice chop, and there is a great play made in left field. And Gurriel gets back to second in time. That's the second out of the inning. Once again, a replay of that incredible catch made. My goodness. Beautiful slide and catch made. And this hit by Perdomo pops out to right field to Jankowski, and they get out of there. We go to the third inning, scored still 0-0. Arizona's big issue this game was they were unable to capitalize on the scoring positions that they were in, and that ended up being the thing that sank them as a unit. But we go to the bottom of the third. We have Nathan Eovaldi again. This one goes to Carroll. Another base hit. He's going to get to first. Everything's going good for him tonight. He is showing out, doing his job. And he's going for second again, going for another steal. This time he is going to be safe again. 2 stolen bases on the game for Corbin Carroll. And Ketel Marte ends up taking first. And now up to the plate against Gabriel Moreno. No outs, man on first and second. He's going to bunt this down the line. He'll get the out at first, but the runners advance to second and third. So 2 runners in scoring position. A chance to take the lead early for Torey Lovello's squad. But it's a strikeout for Longoria, and Pham is up next. And Pham gets a nice hit here. Sends it over. Sorry, not Longoria. That was Walker. And they get the out to Pham at first, so they get no runs scored on that one. We go to the top of the fourth. Gallen lets this hit go to Perdomo, makes a phenomenal diving play, relays it to first, and they get the out. Once again, great dive here. You see it cut across, digs it out of the dirt. Great catch, gets Simeon out. 2 outs here, top of the fourth. At that point, they get the strikeout on Carter. He has now got retired first 12 batters of the World Series. First time that's happened since 1985. He has a no-hitter and a perfect game at this point. And now comes Longoria. As he gets a big swing on this one, sending it into shallow right along the line. It falls in for a base hit. He stretches it out for a double. Makes it in safely. And now you got a runner on second. And Perdomo goes for the walk, and he apparently strikes out here on this pitch specifically. And it is a strike. It is a strike. You can't argue it. They get out of the jam. Again, another runner left in scoring position. You can't win if you keep leaving runners on base. As Josh Young finally gets a hold of this one at the top of the fifth, send it deep, 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 deep. And the play made and left by Gurriel was phenomenal. Phenomenal play here. Over the shoulder. Great grab. Nathaniel Lowe ends up walking here, so with 2 outs at the top of the fifth, that's going to bring up Jonah Heim, one of the hardest hitters in baseball, especially at the catcher position, and he strikes out. Gallen gets out of another jam. Now it's down to a no-hitter at this point through 5. Carroll here in the bottom of the fifth pops this one up, going into shallow right. Great play made by Jankowski. Just gets under it. Beautifully done. Next batter up, Marte gets the quick walk to first. So man on first with 1 out, another guy on base. Moreno has to capitalize. He ends up going down looking here. And Walker actually gets a nice hit here going to right, rolling. And Marte stretches it out to third. So they end up with runners on the corners here. And with the steal, there's a runner on second and third. So 2 runners in scoring position. And Tommy Pham ends up getting on base. So the bases are now loaded for Lourdes Gurriel to be the hero. And once again, it grounds to short. They get the out at first. 2 runners are left on in scoring position again. The Diamondbacks struggling to capitalize on this situation as now Zach Gallen comes up. Back to the mound. This one hit as a grounder to second. Quick out. Jankowski pops this one up to left. Gurriel there to make the play. They got 2. And now Simeon back to the top of the order. Swings and misses on another 4-seam. Gallen with his best stuff saved for this game. He has got a no-hitter through 6 at this point. And now Alec Thomas at the plate just hits this right to Eovaldi. And now you got Longoria swinging and missing on a low breaking ball. Oh, man, was he missing bad. And now Perdomo caught looking on the bottom corner again. So now we're at the top of the 7th inning. Gallen still in the game, pitching a great gem at this point. Here comes Corey Seager at the plate. One of the hardest people to strike out in this game as he gets a base hit hugging down the line to left. And he's safely into first. The Rangers finally starting to rattle in. That breaks up the no-hitter in the 7th inning. right there, perfectly placed hit. And now this is where things start to unravel as Evan Carter follows it up with the hit of his own that gets into the gap between the center fielder and right fielder. That pushes Seager to third, and Carter goes to second. He now has the most doubles in a single postseason in MLB history with 9. He has been absolutely lights out in this postseason. Garver now at the plate. This one goes in between the gap for a base hit. Thomas trying to make the play. Seager already scored. It's too late. They're on the board. It's 1-0 Texas. Well done by Garver to open up the scoring here. And now that's followed up with Josh Young at the plate. Here's the pitch. He misses on a high inside fastball for the strikeout. And Gallen officially comes out of the game right after that, only allowing 1 run. And so in relief has to come Kevin Ginkel, who has been pretty good in this postseason. But Nathaniel Lowe gets it right to the first baseman, who gets the out at home, even though after a little chase down here with Evan Carter, they will get the out. It's just going to take a little while. Ginkel gets the tag out. So man on first and second, and Jonah Heim pops it up. And Moreno is going to make the catch. That is going to end the top of the 7th, but the damage has been done. Texas takes a 1-run lead. It's 1-0 now as we go to the top of the 8th. Ginkel walks the second batter. And Simeon comes up to play back to the top of the order, hits this into right field as a grounder. Now you got a man on first and second. Kevin Ginkel starting to struggle and show some fatigue here as Corey Seager, the most dangerous man in baseball, comes up to the plate and he walks. Bases loaded now. Evan Carter strikes out on a low ball. And that one puts it at 2 outs. 1 more out and they can get out of another jam here. But here comes Mitch Garver, who hits this one as a slow roller to Geraldo Perdomo, who makes the play. And they get him out at first. No runs scored here. Ginkel out of the jam. We go to the bottom of the 8th. The Diamondbacks have the chance here. Thomas on this one rolls off the mound. It goes into center field. He's going to get a base hit, be safe at first. Spores is having some issues at this point. And now Pavin Smith is up. Pinch hitting. He's going to go down looking. End of the 8th. There's still no runs, but it's a 1-run game. They still have some hope to catch up here when they get to the bottom of the 9th. Let's start with the top of the 9th. Sewald is in, and this is where things started going wrong. Paul Sewald, one of the best guys this postseason for this bullpen. He just starts having a meltdown as Lowe hits this one past the shortstop into left. And this one, again, going right in between the gap, going right to the center fielder. Alec Thomas misses the grab, and that scores a runner. Carroll has to chase it down. And the second man comes around. It's Nathaniel Lowe. He's going to score. It's a 3-0 game now for Texas. I've seen the Diamondbacks come back from a lot. But the way they try to capitalize off of guys in scoring position in this game, it really came back to backfire on them. And I don't really see this changing by any point. Simeon gets a hold of this one, sends it deep, goes out on Sewald. It's a 2-run home run. It's a 5-0 game now. It went from being a no-hitter going into the 7th to now being a 5-0 ball game. Just like that. That's the Texas Rangers in a nutshell and their offense. And it's why they ended up winning this game. Bottom of the 9th here. On to pitch to end it. We have Boers. They kept him in. First batter strikes out. Carroll pops it up. Play made by Heim. Heim gets the out. And to end it, they're going to go to their last man. It's all in the hands of Ketel Marte to keep it alive. And he takes a fastball high for the final out. The Rangers win the World Series. Bruce Bochy gets his 4th World Series title in his managerial career. Many first-time champions in here, but more importantly, it is the first World Series championship in the history of the Texas Rangers franchise. They go on to win this one 5-0 and beat the Diamondbacks in 5 games. What a tale, what a story for the Rangers in this one. Nothing but absolute love and admiration for what they did. Nothing but love for them. Again, I had no hate for this World Series at all. I felt it was great. I felt it was a great World Series. And this was, although some people would say it's boring and they're talking about how it's the lowest numbers ever for MLB in terms of World Series viewership, let's be real, it's because it wasn't big market teams. Texas is not a big market team, neither is Arizona. If you would have had one of either Philly or Houston in there, you would have had more viewership, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. And so this is why these things happen. You know, you're going to have these moments where things change. That's really all I could say. I mean, you come back here And you think about it. Would you rather watch the same thing over and over again, the big market team showing up, like seeing the Yankees in it against the Dodgers? I mean, look, that's going to get a lot of viewership. Would you rather see the Braves going up against, let's see another big market team I can name. I'm not going to count the White Sox. I'm not going to count them. Let's say they're going up against not the Angels. Angels are in a big market, but they're not a big market team. Let's say it's Boston and Atlanta. Right? Those are two big market teams. Now, would you tune into that World Series? Yeah, probably. Again, it's because it's big markets. But when you hear Texas, Arizona, it's like hearing, okay, Oakland and Florida in the World Series. I know it sounds disgusting, but that is exactly what we're talking about. That's what Texas and Arizona was. Like, if you look at how the teams they were the last 2 years, it would have felt like just putting somebody like the Guardians in again to face off against the Pittsburgh Pirates. We'll put it like that. The Pittsburgh Pirates. That would have been the best analogy I could use. And that's just essentially what it was. It's two small market teams who had not been doing well last 2 years, who had really great years and made the most of it. And it was an entertaining World Series. You can't deny it. It was entertaining. But unfortunately, it ended in 5. I wanted to see it go 7, but unfortunately it didn't make it to that point. Now, MLB, the season's over. We go into the off season. So my final thoughts. Great season for the Arizona Diamondbacks. No matter how you go back to look at it, you weren't supposed to be here. Let's be honest. You weren't expected to finish and make a wild card spot. You weren't even expected to be over 500. But you made it. And then you made the most of being hot at the right time. You got hot at the right point. You rode that heat going into the World Series. You beat big teams going down the road. You beat the Brewers, who are not an easy out. And you swept them. You faced the Dodgers, who are not an easy out by any means. And you swept them. And then you went on to face the Phillies, one of the hottest teams in baseball, and the one who everybody thought this was going to be their year. And you beat them in 7 games to go to the World Series. That alone deserves recognition and everything. So kudos to the Diamondbacks. But the Rangers, man, they came into this year with nothing. I mean, they made a lot of spending the year prior, and they continued that this offseason, and they needed to see it pay off. And they brought in a manager to turn things around, to get them on the right track, and they did it. That's the beautiful thing. They got it done. And I'm happy about that. That's exactly what I wanted. And that's, I think, what everybody wanted. We were tired of seeing the same old thing of Houston being there 24/7. That's how I saw it. We were tired of seeing Houston constantly going in. And if Houston was going to keep going in, right, and winning, I think we would get tired of that eventually. We didn't want to see it back-to-back unless you were a Houston fan. Let's be honest. And in the end, I think the best team won. Now remember, we're going to talk about this because I really was terrible this year. My World Series prediction was Rays Dodgers going into the postseason. I had Rays and Dodgers, and it did not go that way. The Rays got beat by the Rangers in the wild card in a sweep. And then you had the Dodgers get swept by the Diamondbacks. So it's funny, the two teams I picked to win got beat by the two teams that went to the World Series. I don't know. Just very weird. I guess wrong teams, I guess. That's what happens. But you know what? I'm very happy for a few people. And I'll tell you now what I mean. I'm very excited for a few people. Some of those people include Max Scherzer. Listen, I know some people are iffy on the guy, but you know what? It's another World Series to add to his long resume. They're going to say he really didn't do much. I don't really care. He's a great pitcher, regardless. It doesn't matter. He's a Hall of Famer, guaranteed. One of the best of the game that you'll ever see. And I'm happy that he gets one. Mad Max deserved it. As well as one other guy, which I know is going to piss off somebody who is probably going to be showing up very soon. This will definitely upset him. I'll say Jacob deGrom deserved it too. I think Jacob deGrom deserved the World Series one. And here's why. I mean, after all the years that the Mets put him through, to see him fight, he was such a dominant pitcher for so long. And then he has the injury issues the last few years after the wear and tear finally gets a hold of him. And he goes into this year, he starts pitching great, and then the injury happens and his season ends. To see him still end up getting a World Series ring out of it, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's something he couldn't really accomplish himself. It really is. And now I'm going to open up to calls. So here's what I'm thinking. We're going to open it up to calls. We're going to see who comes in the room. Anything after, if the guy that I'm thinking's coming in comes into the room, then what we'll do, right, is we're going to have a little bit of a talk. I'm going to have this talk with him, let him get his thoughts out, let him get his rage out, because, again, he is a diehard Met fan. One of the biggest Met fans I know.
Oh.
You there?
Hello, Brian?
Yeah, I think I hear you. Let me see if I got you. Actually, let me check if I got you. Let me do a shot. I do have him. Holy shit, I have him, guys.
Technology is not my thing, Brian. I apologize. How you doing?
It's all right. It's all right, man. Welcome to the show. In case people don't know, I'm going to pull up the host and guest shot. This is Turbo Comedy, guys. If you guys don't know him, he's actually got a really, really strong following on YouTube. He's been doing a lot of stand-up. I mean, this guy is. I mean, look, he's one of the funniest guys I know. I've known him for a long time. So I got to tell you,
strong following is very you're being very nice with strong following. But I'm very happy to be talking to you again because people don't know we've known each other from high school and we are acquaintances, and people don't also know that you in my life has flip-flop teams that I can't even keep track anymore.
Are you kidding me?
On who you're rooting for. I mean, every time I see you, you're wearing a different hat, you're wearing a different jersey. I understand style choices. Style takes a lot, but I lose track, so I never know exactly where to attack Brian, in terms of sports talk. But when I saw he put on his story a picture of Jacob deGrom with the World Series trophy, like a fraud he is, I said, that's it. I found my topic I could finally talk to Brian about, and I don't know where you want to begin because I told you in the DMs last night I'm not gonna go crazy. I will enrage. I will put my head through a wall, but I don't want to do that, Brian. So where do we stand on this whole thing? You say he deserves it, and when I told you he didn't, you said, well, he shouldn't have been wasted on the Mets. Now I just want you to start this on your end. So where do you want to begin this conversation, Brian?
Okay, so we'll begin this from how I strictly believe this, because I knew this was going to piss you off, or it's going to annoy you. Not really piss you off, but it annoys you.
Why piss me off? Piss me off is such a harsh word, Brian. Not piss me off. I mean, it grinds my gears, Brian. It grinds my gears.
Okay, grinds your gears. Okay, all right, like the real Peter Griffin. We got it.
Exactly. Yes.
Exactly. So I'll tell you. So I mean, I went through so many years watching DeGrom pitch, and it was so beautiful to watch him as a pitcher become such this dominant guy. Who the Mets fans rallied around him like he was one of the best. He was going to be better than anybody they've ever had. I mean, you could put him in. I mean, there's so many people you can compare him to. He's going down as one of the greatest Mets pitchers there ever was. Talking about a 2-time Cy Young winner, a 4-time All-Star. He has an ERA title, 1 Rookie of the Year. Guy is accomplished so much and now 35 years old through all these years. You're going back to what, 2014? He spent 9 years with the Mets. Gave him all he had. He was in Cy Young voting almost every single year of his career outside of his rookie year, his 2016 season, so the year after the World Series run, and then last year. Those were the years. But again, as you know, he had so many injuries going on. It was rough to watch.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. So when you say he deserves, so now I want to say right off the bat, is he a pitcher that deserves? Now, once again, people, I'm a Mets fan, diehard Mets fan. David Wright once threw me a ball. Listen, don't let me get started. Don't get me started, Brian, with my Mets fandom, okay? David Wright threw me a ball after he walked away from me after a previous game when the national anthem starts. The player's going to walk away, Brian. He walked away from me the previous game. Then the game after the doubleheader, I went up there. He threw a ball to me, signed it. That's class. That's class, Brian. That's class, Brian. So I'm a Mets fan because of that. And also, I watched Jacob deGrom. Is he a pitcher, Brian, that deserves 15 million World Series? Of course. He's in my eyes, when he was pitching for the Mets and he had his crazy games 110%, how did he not look like a pitcher that was going to bring the Mets World Series championships? But of course, it's the Mets and it wouldn't happen. But I'm just saying, Brian, to say that a guy, he could have been, he could have been Jesus. He pitched 6 games for the Texas Rangers. 6 games. The games he did pitch, how many of them did he get taken out of early? Like 3 out of the 6, or maybe half of his games were not even full games. And to say that he rode the bench and, yes, he is a World Series champion. I'm not going to say take it away from him. It's not. Yes, he's a World Series champion, but he's like Dwight Howard champion, Brian. He's Dwight Howard on the Lakers, Brian. Sad that it may seem, that's who he is. This year. Not saying next year he can't be an official champion. This championship has an asterisk next to his name, like Dwight Howard. What an example. What a comparison, huh?
Listen, I'll say that guy. Listen, it's a hell of a comparison, but listen, I wouldn't bring up Dwight Howard with anything with the things that have been going on with him. I wouldn't touch him with anything.
I forgot. I apologize. I forgot.
No, it's all good, man. Listen, it's all good. I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole at the moment.
But you know what I'm saying in terms of this topic? Dwight Howard, listen, Jacob deGrom in terms of talent is not where Dwight Howard was in terms of like talent in his career. But I'm just saying in terms of being on a team, not having impact yet winning a championship, he's in that same boat. Unfortunately, and you say, listen, we wasted Jacob deGrom. He had all of those injuries. I mean, I got stats, Brian. I got stats. I mean, 2018, was the start really of his injuries because 2018 he had extended elbow, and then after 2018, boom, you got all the other injuries. You got a hip, like he was an 80-year-old veteran. He has a hip injury. Then he has back tightness. Then it was neck, hamstring, side, right side, elbow, shoulder, forearm, shoulder, wrist, elbow. Brian, you can't waste a guy if the guy's not on the field, Brian.
I get it.
I'll let you talk because I can understand. I'm a yapper. Go on.
No, it's not that. I'm letting you have your moment, and I'm letting you get your thoughts out. That's the important thing. I'm not going to shut you up. I'm not like I told you yesterday. I'm not like Sal Licata who will hang up on people just because he doesn't like what they're saying. I'm not that kind of person.
Yeah, you're not Mike. You're not a little Mike Francesa, Brian.
I'm not Mike Francesa. I'm not like whatever they're doing with the Michael K show. I ain't nothing like that. I let people talk. And it's important because you guys have frustrations. You have to let these things out. So, listen, I know the injuries suck, and I've said it many times. deGrom has a very lengthy, extensive injury history, and especially in the recent years. I mean, let's point them out. You mentioned the wrist, right?
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned the wrist injury is one of the bad ones that he's had. Now, I'm pulling up every single injury he has had in his career. We're going back to... I
have it on the website too, yeah.
Let me guess, Fox Sports pulled it up?
Yeah, I have all the history. I wish it told exactly how long he was out for, but I could tell you the injuries he had before I want to say like 2021. It wasn't really, I think, like long injury. I could be wrong for like at least one of them, but after the 2021 season, I mean, it was just every injury he was out for the remainder of like months.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely right. And let's start with the first one. The first one was a hyperextended elbow, which was 2018. He had that in May. That was the first major injury he had in his career at that point. It wasn't even really major. It's a hyperextension. It wasn't too major, but he had to miss some time. It's probably about a month of an injury to recover.
And this is
and he still won and he still got an All-Star nomination that year, which is kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to 2019. Then it's the hip. Now he's got a hip injury. That was June 1st, 2019. Had a hip injury. Still got to the All-Star. Both years won a Cy Young. Went back-to-back in those years, despite the beginning of those injury histories. And that's at 30 and 31 years old. He was looking great. A 1.7 ERA and a 2.43 ERA. Then the COVID year happens. He has 3 injuries in 2020. Back tightness, a neck injury, and a hamstring injury. That year, he finishes out with a 2.3 ERA, pitches in a total of 12 games started after starting 31 32 and 32 in the previous 3 seasons. After that 2019 season, he never even got half of what he had in those previous years because the injuries caught up. So 2021, side injury, then a right side, then an elbow, then a shoulder, then it's a forearm, then another forearm. And then now you go to 2022, it's a shoulder injury. He ends up missing, I think, like a lot of time out of it. He had he only started 11 games with the Mets last year. And again, the ERA was a 3.08, which was the worst of his career, or I should say the second worst since 2017. 2017 was his worst year of his career with a 3.53, which is still wild to me. Still wild.
So
and
with
now this
all
year,
of this, now with all of this you're seeing and all of this you're saying, how does that not at least dumb down what you said of we wasted him? How did we waste him?
I feel like there was more that could have been done with conditioning. That's all it is.
I mean, you could say that with a lot of teams in the MLB.
And to say waste is, I mean, the guy is coming out of his prime is what it feels like. He's starting to come out of that now. His prime years were those last few that he had, the 30, 31, 32. That's 17, 18, 19. Those were his best years. 2020 even was a good year. But again,
I was going to say
he started going down a downward trend. The injuries started catching up to him. And I feel like the Mets had so many opportunities to utilize him better than they did. They only utilized him once.
Look at 2021. 2021, I say that was his last opportunity for a great year. A 1.8 ERA going into after the All-Star break. Like almost 15 games. He never pitched over 15 games since, what was it? Since it was
2021 was the last time he pitched 15 games.
I mean, that's incredible. So, like, you say to yourself, like, 2021, that was when I was really watching again heavily, was 2021. And every single time he was on the mound, it was, you remember, it was lights out, gem after gem. And you're saying to yourself, like, this is when we had, I think, Luis Rojas still. I mean, we were like, okay, even with our banged up squad, whatever may have happened, we still have an opportunity here because we have a guy like Jacob deGrom. He was that one guy was giving us that whole World Series optimistic opportunity, even with our broken, team even without the signings we had with Khan and Marte. This is before that. So I'm saying, yes, I'm not talking about you see how we're not talking about Scherzer here? Scherzer kind of had the same year and a bit. He didn't have the hard injuries, but he had his injuries. He fought for the Mets. We appreciated what he did for the Mets. He wasn't going to go anywhere with his career, so we understood why he left. So we appreciate it. He fought for us. We get it. He flopped in the playoffs, but what are you going to do? And he did what he did. He came back for the Rangers. He got hurt. He came back. He fought. He won. He deserves it. DeGrom didn't even have a chance. He pitched 6 games. I mean, just to go back to the whole thing, I just want to say, like, this World Series at least should have an asterisk next to his name because he didn't, like, in a way, help this team win a World Series.
I get the argument. I'm telling you, listen, I get it. It's that, you feel that because he didn't really pitch more than 6 games, they didn't pitch more than 6 games, that you just can't justify him having a World Series ring. But listen, it could be worse.
Like,
it could be like the other guy. If he was
on your team, Brian, if he was on your team, right, and you were in the locker room, he came up to you, and Brian, you were Evaldi. You pitched the whole season, whatever. You were trying to, you were trying to win a World Series your whole life, whatever. You finally got one. Then Jacob deGrom walks behind you with the World Series shirt and the hat. Oh my God. Yeah, he's a great pitcher. With his career, yes, he should have had one. So of course, people are gonna be happy for him. They're not gonna be dicks and stuff. But at the same time, you're a teammate. You're gonna look at him like, should he be that excited? Like I don't know. I don't know.
I'm thinking of guys that won their first World Series at an old age.
Tell me how you would feel.
That's the thing. That's what I'm thinking of, is just like, that's what I'm thinking about, is, guys who won World Series, their first one in their career, that maybe they're only at an older age. Mm-hmm. And, for me, I'm just happy to see deGrom with the championship. That's how I feel. And okay. I know to you don't feel like that's really somebody who should have it because he didn't have much to do with it. But
Yeah,
in the
you're
end, to
also
me,
not-
it's a guy
and
who I
I'm
felt
not-
like he should have had it with the Mets. You can't tell me he shouldn't have had that back in 2015. If they would have beat the Royals and he had that ring, he would have been set for his career. He may have never left the Mets.
I mean, that 2015 World Series is another conversation, but I mean, I know what you mean. Yes, he should have had at least one ring with the Mets on his tenure. Yes, of course.
He should, and that's what I mean by wasted. I feel like he had so much good opportunities to capitalize on this with the Mets. The Mets could have made the best run possible, but because of mismanagement, right? Because of mismanagement, I feel that things went south with DeGrom. They had a chance to make him... You kind of get what I'm saying here? Mismanagement, knowing the talent they have.
I know what you're saying.
To win them a championship, put them in the best position to win. They didn't do that knowing what they had with DeGrom. And that's what pissed me off.
I'm also not gonna fully deny your statement in saying we wasted him, because in a way, you could put the blame wherever in the wasted argument, but 100%. You could say that with a ton of players, with like Joey Votto on the Reds, wasted player. You know
Absolutely,
what I'm saying?
big time.
You could say that with tons of players in the MLB. And I guess the way it hurts Mets fans, like you said, the most is because like it's more personal to us. It should have been us because we had multiple opportunities to, especially especially the year like 2022 with the Scherzer and DeGrom in the World Series playoffs. It should have been. It should have been that, but shit happens, especially as sports. And what are you gonna do? But I know what you mean by wasted. But when you say by management, what do you mean by mismanaged? Because the only way I could see mismanaged is like my dad makes this argument. My dad's not even a Mets fan, and my dad always says they should have made him a closer sooner.
No, I disagree with that. No, no.
I never really went deep into that topic, but now that I'm thinking about it, look at the injuries he's getting. He has to be maybe a relief guy. Maybe have to do something with his role.
I don't know. I think he's still got that starter potential. I'm sorry, I really do. I don't know if he's in relief area. Let's see what happens next season. Next season will be the shower.
I was just gonna say that. Do you give him one more year for that insurance?
Yes.
Like, do you give him one more year?
Give him another year. Let's see if he can stay healthy through as a starter. If he can't do that, then from there he's probably relegated to the bullpen. Kind of like with remember Ian Kennedy, who just retired? Ian Kennedy was a big starting pitcher all over the place, and then they moved him to the bullpen his last few years. It'd be a similar situation to that. It's like I get exactly what you mean. I think next year would be a test. Because again, you're talking about a guy who's 36 years old. He's got a chance now. He's got one last chance. If he can prove himself, maybe he can prove he can still pitch a starter like Rich Hill. Which, we talk a lot about him.
But think about it. He's a guy, though, that, not a lot of pitchers can make a transition to where, even at his old age, dude, even if he was on the Mets, I wouldn't be talking about him like an old ass. If he was still on the Mets right now, I was still talking about him like he has an arm of gold. But still, you face the facts. All the injuries and everything you see that he got going on for him, it's if he was on the Mets and we did sign into that big contract last year and we said, okay, we're going to give him that shot. And we're like, oh, God, here we go again. We signed into a big contract. He got this injury. Now what do we do? As a Met fan, I would say to myself right now, okay, we need to use him anyway. We can't wait all this time for him to become 7-inning potential. If we can get him to contribute for the whole season as a 3-inning guy, a 4-inning guy, why not? Why not?
Yeah. I get it. And again, this just goes back to my main point. I just feel that I'm happy that DeGrom got one. Is it in the best circumstances? No, of course not. I'm just happy to see him with one because I wanted to see him get... Listen, as a Yankee fan, I've said this. As a Yankee fan, I have no animosity to the Mets. I don't have animosity. I've always wanted to see DeGrom win.
It's a fun rivalry.
It's a fun rivalry. But again, I don't have hate for them. I just, think about it like this. It sounds effed up when I explain it, but I'll put it like this. As a Yankee fan, I don't understand people hating Mets fans. Because to me, I've always seen it as, listen, no offense. It's like the little brother of New York. You're always going to want it. You're always going to have a sibling
100%.
rivalry with them. But you're never going to be mad that they won because you're happy because you want to see your family succeed. That's how I see it. I always saw
No,
it that way.
100%. 100%. Anytime, and I'm a Mets fan that says this confidently, anytime, and I have a friend, Tyler, that I go back and forth with. I mean, we abuse each other during the regular season, but it's all out of love. And we, like the Mets got eliminated from San Diego, and the Yankees were still in it. I was rooting for the Yankees because they're New York, and I'm not going to be, afraid or ashamed to do it, but I'll never root for, listen, the Phillies won the World Series. Yes, I may have, had a couple of dollars on Bryce Harper home run, maybe, but I'll never be happy. I'll never be jumping up and down, But the Yankees, New York, what are you going to do? Well, I love it. Big Apple. What are you going to do? Pizza. But I love it, and I just want to know if you agree, just to make this argument as long, just to put a nice bow on it. Are you gonna put an asterisk next to that ring, next to his name?
It's not on the level of other guys. I will say that. It's not on the level of other guys. It would be bad if he didn't touch the ball the whole year. It would have been bad if he didn't touch it the whole year. Because he pitched in 6 games, I give him a benefit of the doubt. Not by much, but I give him one.
He finished the season before it got hot out, Brian.
I get it. I'm telling you, I still think he pitched 6 games. He pitched 6 games. If he pitched no games, I would be agreeing with you. But he didn't pitch no games or just 1 or 2. He pitched 6. I know what you're trying to say. I'm telling you, he still pitched. He got a few wins, and then he got hurt. That's it.
So now, this is how much I actually didn't really look into that last injury. That last injury he had, which ended the season, was that a Tommy John, or did he already have Tommy John?
I believe he already had Tommy John at this point. Let me just confirm the Jacob deGrom injury.
Yeah, I what was that last bit? Like, I with all this things I was trying to, remember for this conversation, I should have looked at what. I mean, it says here what? It says here elbow.
Yeah, it says that. Here we go. He's not even going to return, by the way, until August. That's what it says here. So according to June 18th article from ESPN, it says that Rangers Jacob deGrom eyes an August 2024 return after he had elbow surgery. He had a torn UCL, so he had to get a reconstructive surgery. It's basically Tommy John.
All right, so now, now.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this is where we're at. Yeah.
Now, Brian.
It's his second Tommy John surgery.
Jacob deGrom, his elbow looks like chop meat, probably, Brian.
Yeah, probably.
He definitely has relief. Okay.
Here we go. I got it here. October 2010, deGrom undergoes Tommy John 4 months after being drafted by the Mets in the 9th round. Missed the entire 2011 season while recovering. 2016, he had a season-ending surgery on the ulnar nerve in his elbow, which was not Tommy John surgery. He didn't have another one, but he was shelved for the rest of the year. He had 3 consecutive healthy seasons, which we talked about, 17 and 19. Then in 20, he had minor neck and hamstring injuries. Then in 21, we said he had back-to-back starts the exit with minor arm injuries, and he's pitched on normal rest the rest of the way. July 2021, he was on IL with forearm tightness. August 2022, he had a stress reaction in his shoulder during spring training, and he was ruled out for multiple months. And then this year, he was placed on 15-day IL with elbow inflammation. In June, they announced he had to go undergo Tommy John surgery, and it was the second time he had it since 2010 when he got drafted. And they're saying so he'll be back for August of next year.
How do you think this all adds up to his life insurance policy? He must be paying bank in life insurance.
It has to at this point.
I mean, but at the end of the day, okay, he's going to pitch late into next season. He's going to definitely get, rehabbed in. He's not going to go pitching 9 innings right away.
Yeah, he may not start till the postseason.
Listen, Jacob deGrom, man, he came to Texas. He didn't want to pay taxes. He did what he wanted to do, and he bet on himself, and the dealer won. It's looking like the dealer's winning. I mean, he got the championship, but in a way, dude, it's like you forget that he's going to be a player, that he's going to be an all-star Hall of Famer. Oh, my God, great stats, and you're going to forget he won this if he never wins again. I'm telling you right now.
I think so. I think you're right in that sense. I think people will forget that.
You're just happy.
I'm just happy to see he's got a ring.
You're
That's
just
it.
happy that he got to touch the trophy. That's you. You're just happy that he got to touch the trophy.
I'm happy he got his ring. That's it. I'm happy he got a ring.
All right.
Did I want to be in more deserving circumstances? Yes. But he got a ring regardless. I'm happy with it. And that's
I can sleep well at night knowing that's the. I can sleep well at night knowing that's the basis. If you were gonna come at me right now saying like, well, he was like a social camaraderie personality in the clubhouse. What are you talking about?
I would have listened. I'm not one of those talking heads that's gonna say it like that. I'm gonna tell you like it is. Look, I wanted to be in more deserving circumstances, but the fact of the matter is, he's a champion now. I'm cool with it. He needed it. He always wanted it. We always wanted to see it with the Mets. But the fact that he got it, it's bittersweet for New York. But in the end, the guy who gave you so many great years there finally gets a championship. And it's almost like it's bittersweet because you wanted to be with the Mets, but he got it regardless. That's how I see it.
All right, now let me, to wrap this up, because I know you can't talk about this all day. To wrap it up,
Yeah.
What player, like Jacob deGrom, is a player that you can name off the top? Like I said, Joey Votto. What's a player that you can name that is like this?
McCutchen with the Pirates.
Mm-hmm.
Pirates had a couple really good years that were building up there with that team, and he had an MVP year, and it just, nothing came of it.
I would say, actually, no, he did win one, but I was going I think if
And
he
don't
did
forget
win
about Bonds.
one,
Don't forget about Barry Bonds. He never won a World Series.
yeah, Barry Bonds. But every time you talk about Barry Bonds, so it's always like an iffy. You're always treading on ice every time you're talking on Barry Bonds.
It's also important to note that, you could put all that other stuff aside. He just never won a World Series. And you're talking about a guy, again, 14-time All-Star, 7 MVPs, 8 Gold Gloves. Probably one of the best hitters we've ever seen, even if you put the steroid stuff aside.
Yeah.
He really is. And he never got a World Series.
Well, I'm looking up right now, what you call it? Felix Hernandez from the Mariners.
Yes, Hernandez is another good one. Mariners still have never won or been to a World Series.
I was going to say, yeah, Felix Hernandez.
Ichiro's another one you could use. Ichiro.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 seasons with the Mariners. And he had maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. He had about 4, 5, 6. He had almost like 10 seasons with like 2.5 or maybe like 3 and below ERA and no World Series. Listen, that's how it is with a lot of players. That's how sports goes. Unfortunately, you could be a great talent, but to win a championship, it literally takes crazy puzzle pieces that you don't even know have to come together to go to a championship and win a championship. And one player that I just want to shout out that for some reason I always had an attachment to, because he was a player that I drafted in MLB The Show back when I didn't even know who the hell he was, but he had like 98 speed in MLB The Show, and I was like, who the hell is this guy? And his name was Travis Jankowski, and I'm so happy he has won a World Series.
Yeah, man. Listen, who would have thought DeGrom, Scherzer, and Jankowski would win a World Series in the same year?
I'm listening, man.
And they would have to face off against Tommy Pham to do it.
I'm just happy it's not Marcus Stroman. That's all I'm happy about. I'm just happy it's not Marcus Stroman.
I'll give you one more player. He did technically win a World Series, but he was a rookie when it happened, and he was in Florida. That was 2003. He just retired. It's Miguel Cabrera.
Oh, wow. Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah, he went to a couple World Series with the Tigers, but he never won with them.
Oh,
and he's been with the Tigers since we're talking about 2008.
Mm-hmm.
So he spent 16 years with Detroit and never won a World Series with them. But he won a World Series career in 2003 in his rookie year at 20 years old. That was it.
I never even, that's fine. I never even knew that.
Yep. Miguel Cabrera,
That's
another guaranteed Hall of Famer.
Miguel Cabrera, he had a crazy last couple. That last 2 years, that last 2-year run was a crazy run.
Yeah, listen, it's gonna be It sucks to see him go, but you know what? Life goes on. It happens, man. So listen.
I mean, also to say before, The whole the little. I mean, speaking of, I brought him up before, Mets player. I mean, David Wright. Listen, he's not the craziest player. I know we're Mets fans. We're gonna amp him up like he's God, but he is Captain America for Mets fans. He is the man. David Wright.
He's for the Mets what Jeter was for the Yankees. That's exactly how I put it.
Exactly, 100%. He was a young superstar that came up back in I think 2005 or whatever, and he literally brought life to the Mets with Jose Reyes. And the story I brought up quickly before was the story I will forever tell. That's my baseball love story. Is I went to a doubleheader for a Met game back in 2011, and I went there. I didn't really know where to go for autographs and stuff like that. I didn't really know you had to go where they line up by the first baseline. So I didn't really know. I finally I pushed my way through whatever, my ball, my pen, and David Wright is signing autographs with all the kids waiting on the side. And right when he's about to get to Brian, I mean, the kid next to me is getting his autograph by David Wright, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, I'm under my heart's beating, and he's about to get to me, and you hear over the announcements, "All right, time for the national anthem," and they walk away. Dude, I'm the last person, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to get my autograph from David Wright. And then all of a sudden, I go, and the whole game, I'm upset, whatever. I'm just pissed the whole game. I'm so upset. And then we find out it's a doubleheader. I look at my dad. I mean, who knows how much my dad had on him at the time. I'm looking at him, my dad, we got to go to this next game. We got to get to the next game. I got to get this autograph. And he's looking at me because I want to go home. I got right. Blah, whatever, blah, blah. So I'm like, Dad, we got to go. Being the great dad he is, he got me tickets for the next game. He probably got tickets for the upper deck, but he told the guy he just wants to get an autograph. Let him just run down there, please, quick. So they're very nice. I ran down there. And not only was I the first autograph from David Wright, that second game, he asked me to throw him the ball. I threw David Wright the ball. He signed it. He threw it back to me. I went back in my seat. I ejaculated. I'm sorry. And then I proceeded to watch the game. And then after, Brian, after that game, you can look him up. He was a player for the Mets. I don't know what happened to him. His name is Jason Pridey. He was an outfielder for the Mets at the time. Jason Pridey throws his batting gloves into the stands. I'm not even looking. I feel something land on my body. It's 2 pair of batting gloves that land on me. I'm like, holy shit. I put it in my pocket. I got a David Wright signed ball, batting gloves, baseball story for you right there.
2011. That's the year. That happened in 2011. Had to be.
There you go, because Jason Pridey was on the roster.
Yep. It's the only year he was on the roster. He bounced around teams like crazy.
Yep. So that really, I mean, every time I bring up David Wright, that's a story that instantly pops up in my head because, I remember if it wasn't for that next game, it would have been my Joker story. That would have been my criminal story. That would have been my villain arc. I was a big Mets fan. I want David Wright's autograph, and right when he's about to get to me, he walks away, and I'm left there what? He didn't autograph my ball. It could have been bad. It could have been bad.
It could have been really bad. Who knows? You may have not been a Mets fan at this point because of it.
No, I could have been a turncoat and switched to the dirty pinstripes.
You could have switched to the proper pinstripes.
Nah, I call them the dirty pinstripes. You see how you guys are the darker blue, the dirtier blue? Okay. You're the dirty pinstripes. Okay. The dirty pinstripes. Okay. That's it.
And again, as for the way you open this, man, I got to tell you, listen, you may say I flip-flop teams like crazy, but I tell you, I just collect shit at this point.
I know that, but I just never really, I guess, got because I know you're a Yankee fan, you root for the Yankees.
Okay, so you want me to explain the full fandom? And this will be for the whole chat to understand as well.
Give me your resume.
Okay, so I'm originally born in Florida.
I actually did not know that. Yeah. Okay.
I originally was born in Florida, lived there for 7 years, my first 7 years of life.
Okay.
So I was there. So I grew up a Tampa Bay fan, but at the time, my neighborhood and everybody in Florida, just for the most part, on the west coast of Florida, we didn't actually accept the Rays as our baseball team. We just didn't, because we didn't resonate or really understand them. So a lot of us were really Yankee fans. That's the funny part. I don't know if you know that. A lot of Tampa Bay fans, if you go down there to Tampa Bay, you're going to find more Yankee fans than Rays fans.
Yeah, I can only imagine that a lot of people who retire from New York go to Florida and they're, Yankee fans and stuff like that.
But also it's like an agreement with my mother and father. They were like, my father was from Florida, my mother was from New York. She wanted me to be a Yankee fan. I went, okay, and my father was like, okay. So I was raised in a New York Yankee household. And then the Buccaneers fan was the compensation for that. So I grew up a Bucs fan and a Yankees fan. They tried to make me a Giants fan at one point when I was like 6 or 7 years old. That's hence why you see all the Giants shit behind me. But I just wouldn't budge. I always stuck with the Bucs, and that 2007 loss with Jeff Garcia sealed it for me, and I was a Bucs fan ever since. And I've just been enduring emotional torture since. But I know we got a Super Bowl, but they've won more in their time. I've been a fan of my team. So
I was gonna say, listen, you're talking about mental torture. Look about the Giants now, but I was gonna say at least I got to see the Giants win a Super Bowl. I mean, you saw it too, but I'm saying, at least I got to see them with
42 and
all
46.
the shit that's going
I
now.
definitely saw them, and I got to see my team get 55, which was great. But you know what? I'll add you the other ones because this is another one that gets confusing. Hockey is Florida Panthers because it's Florida, but it's not the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's the Florida Panthers because my dad pissed me off one day talking shit about all the Florida teams. I was like, I'm gonna spite him, and ever since then, I've been a Florida Panther fan, which is the rival from Miami.
That's very similar to what I got going on. My dad's a Yankees fan. I'm a Mets fan. He's a Jets fan. I'm a Giants fan.
Oh.
It didn't happen out of spite, but it just happened. And he's like, "What are you doing? Like, are you doing it personally? What's happening?"
Yeah, man. And then the last one's the one that makes no sense. As you can see by the hat behind me, I'm going to lean the right way. As you can see with the basketball hats behind me, you could tell that it makes absolutely no sense. It is Milwaukee. The Milwaukee Bucks for NBA.
I remember that when they did win a finals, you were happy. I remember that.
Yeah,
yes.
so I'll explain to you this one because the only person out of all the friends I've had from Brooklyn who could explain this is Raphael. He's the only one who could actually explain this.
Oh, right. Okay, right.
Because he distinctly remembers the fact that we're talking like end of elementary school, like my 5th grade, going into 6th grade, I was talking about Milwaukee. And that's like me 2011, 2012, because I needed to pick a team. I was getting into basketball, and I wanted somebody to follow. But I didn't want to go New York, and I didn't want to go Florida. I didn't want to go the typical routes. So I basically did like a pick a name out of a hat thing and just stick with that team no matter what. And I picked Milwaukee, which again at the time was we had Monta Ellis, you're talking with Brandon Jennings, Larry Sanders. We're talking about the whole squad. And then I had to deal with other guys like Andrew Bogut and who else we talking about? John Henson, Greg Monroe, Jabari Parker's early years. I mean, there were so many things I went through as a Milwaukee fan. I mean, I didn't even think Giannis was going to be this big deal when he first got drafted. I didn't even know who he was. And then, holy shit, this happened. And again, so that's been the most confusing one. But everything else, now that I've explained it, you kind of understand it? Mm-hmm. Okay, so everything has a certain reason.
I definitely get it now, and I definitely I have a lot of friends that love to just wear hats and stuff like that, and we bust their balls because it's like. But I'm gonna ask you,
like Steven's the big one, Chris Cola.
Yes, will you ever wear a Boston Red Sox hat or something?
Now here's the thing, I wouldn't buy anything to wear. Do you
draw a line?
There are some points where I do draw a line. Now, the only reason I would buy it is for sketch comedy. If I have to do...
Oh, no, of course, 100%. But I mean, if you're going out to an Applebee's, are you wearing a Red Sox hat?
No. I wouldn't wear it to an Applebee's. No. Like, look, I got Pirates hats back here. Here's one hat I have worn which is pissed off and actually caused some drama between me and some people that are Yankee fans. And I've been on their shows many times. Let me pull it out, actually. Because it's actually here. Because I've got, just so you know, my hat collection's at like 40 plus teams at this point.
I can imagine.
Yeah, this is the one that pissed them off because I actually do wear this from time to time just to match with the outfits. It's a Mets hat.
Okay.
I have a blue Mets hat. I forgot you can't see my camera because OBS acts up. But
no, I see it from the YouTube playback. I got it.
Yeah. So basically, it's a Mets hat, and I've worn that out to match with my outfits, and it's just hysterical. Because when I do, it's always like, oh, you're a Mets fan, man. Have you seen this? I'm like, yeah, but it's like I just know Mets shit. I just know Mets shit, so I can get along and fake it. It's like in reality, if I say I'm a Yankee fan, they're like, then why the hell are you wearing a Mets hat? Take it off. And I'm like, I'm not dealing with that kind of confrontation. I'm just trying to do it because the fit looks good.
Yeah, no, I got you. No, listen, there are some times where my dad will have a Yankee hat lying around, and I don't look good in hats anyway, and I just put it on though, and I'm like, damn, I'm like, it is crazy how like the Yankees navy and white just goes with anything, like
really
the
does.
colors, it just goes with anything. The Mets colors, the bright orange and blue, you really can't wear that with a lot of stuff. So that's why even if you get like a Mets shirt or like anything, like, you have to really either wear it with like black or gray. You can't really wear it with a lot of things. So that but I'll give you that one, Yankee fans. I'll give you that one.
Yeah, it goes along a lot with anything. Well, I think that's gonna do it. I think we went through our main thoughts here.
Brian, I appreciate you letting me come on here and yap. I know I could probably yap on for more, but I'm just very happy you had me on to talk about the Jacob deGrom little conversation. And I just, listen, we hope the man the best. We hope he wins another ring. We hope he actually contributes to it this time. And, that's how I feel. You should have been on the Mets still, but thank God you are, because we're probably going to pay you $1 billion for rehab. But thank God you're on the Rangers.
Exactly. But again, he's not making as much as Scherzer, though. That's the beautiful thing for the Rangers. He's not making as much as Scherzer.
And that's another thing. Scherzer may be done. That's it. Who knows?
Who knows? But again, thank you for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. Where can the good people find you and follow you?
So right now, you can follow me on anything. On Twitter, it's Turbo Comedy. On YouTube, it's Turbo Comedy. Right now, I'm not doing a podcast or anything. I'm actually working behind the scenes on a lot of animation. I'm doing an animated cartoon series. We're working on that right now. I'm coming out with a little animated, little funny sketch that will be coming out, I want to say, hopefully within the new year after the holidays. So we're working on that right now. So just keep your eyes posted for some just crazy comedy stuff coming out on the channel. And Brian, once again, thank you so much. I'll hope to talk to you again soon, dude.
All right, thanks, man. Again, anytime you want to come back on, do an interview, just let me know, man.
Brian, as you can see, I could go on and rant about anything. Anytime you want me, just let me know. I'm your guy.
All right, man. Listen, have a great one. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And so, everybody, that's Turbo Comedy. If you guys haven't, go follow him on YouTube or on his Instagram or on his Twitter. He's got accounts everywhere at Turbo Comedy, or on Instagram it's at It's Turbo's Comedy. Good friend of mine. I've known him for a long time. Devout Mets fan. One of the funniest guys I know. He's naturally just a gifted comedy guy. But that's the World Series final thoughts. We'll do MLB offseason in a bit. Let's go into the big thing here. Again, I did post in the chat here. I'm going to pin it now. I did post a link. If you guys scroll back, we have a link so you guys can call into the show as well. If you guys want to talk any football, talk about vet your teams, you have that available for you here on the channel. You guys will be able to do that. I'll repost it in the chat as well so you guys can call in. This is the same link I did give to Turbo that he could call into the show, so you guys can use this as well. Let's try this again. So I'm going to send it in. Give me 1 second, and we're good. So I just reposted it now. If you guys want to join in, talk some football, get some therapy questions answered, feel free. Again, I'm trying to make sure you guys don't go naturally insane from what's happened with football, because I'm sure we got some Giants fans in the chat. Now, NFL Week 9. Let's just go into it. I feel like there's no other way to approach it. We're going to have to regretfully go into this, and I don't want to. Honestly, I really don't. I'm not going to pull up any NFL highlights for this. We're just going to free ball this. No highlights, no nothing. We're just going to talk about whatever happened on the line. Also, no play-by-play stream tonight for Monday Night Football. We're probably going to do one tomorrow. Aiming to do it for basketball. We'll see what we can pull off. But that's the current plan right now, is we're going to do a play-by-play tomorrow instead of an actual night show. So be prepared for that. Now we're going to go to our scores and talk about what happened with my game notes as well. So we already talked about what happened on... I don't believe we talked about what happened on Thursday. I didn't put in my picks for that game, so I'll tell you guys now. Titans-Steelers. This was a bad week of picks for me. I'm just going to get that out of the way. Bad week for picks. I went 7-6. Very, very bad week. Usually I don't have bad weeks. This was a bad week. This was a really bad week. Just a lot of unpredictable things. I just really was trying not to buy into the favorites as much and ended up being more favorite heavy than upsets. So, things happen. But let's start with the first one. Titans-Steelers. Steelers won the game 20-16. I had the Titans winning this one. Look, Will Levis did not look bad. I'll say that at minimum. Will Levis did not look like a bad quarterback. Again, 22 of 39, 262, one interception, which was kind of rough, but outside of that, he looked really good, really dominant, way better than Tannehill's been performing. And compare that to Kenny Pickett, 19 of 30, 160 and a touchdown. Still not prolific passer that they're looking for. And just overall, the ground game has been really what's working for the Steelers more than anything else. And their defense, too. Their defense has been lights out. Pittsburgh in this game, 166 on the ground. And Deontay Johnson, leading receiver, 90 yards, 1 touchdown on 7 catches. And you go back to Tennessee, Kyle Phillips was leading receiver with 4 catches for 68, no TDs, no passing touchdowns. There was 1 rushing by Derrick Henry, 17 carries, 75 yards, and a TD. That's the story with Tennessee and Pittsburgh. Let's take a look real quick to see what happened in the defensive side, see if anything major happened. Yes, Alex Highsmith with 2 sacks for Pittsburgh. And on Tennessee's side, no sacks at all in Kenny Pickett. It was actually pretty impressive. No sacks for Kenny Pickett. Now, as I told you guys, there's a big thing that I tell you when it comes to these games. What's the most important thing? Finishing your drives. You need 3 things to win a game. If you get all 3, you don't lose the game. It's statistically impossible to lose when you have all 3 of these things. When you have no turnovers, or you have limited turnovers, you dominate time of possession, and you complete more drives. That's what I've always said. The Titans and the Steelers completed the same amount of drives, so it's a 50-50. The Pittsburgh Steelers did not turn over the ball, and the Titans dominated time of possession. So it's literally a split all the way around. So this really could have been anybody's game, but in the end, it is the fact that Pittsburgh did not turn over the ball that ended up winning them this game. And the Titans still are looking for their first road win. 0-4 on the road this year. Not a good number. Let's go into Sunday's action from yesterday. Buccaneers-Texans. We'll start with my squad. First question, what is Todd Bowles doing? Is it time to call it quits? Here's the thing. The Glazers will never, ever get rid of somebody, right? The Glazers will never get rid of somebody who doesn't want to be there. I mean, they'll never get rid of somebody in the middle of the season because they want to. Like that's the weird thing with them. The Glazers will never get rid of somebody in the middle of the season. It's the way they are. That's the ownership for Tampa, by the way, in case you guys don't know. Also own Manchester United. The Glazers they've never fired somebody in the middle of the season in their entire time as owners. They save it for the end of the year. And plus, the reason why is, I don't know if you guys know this, but once you fire somebody, their entire staff starts looking for other jobs for once the season is over. Other places they can go. They immediately start their job search. That's why it's such a risky move. Because once you're worried about your job search, you're not worried about the team or the way they do the rest of the season. Tampa's on a 4-game losing streak. They're 3-5 now. They got to figure something out. This cannot continue. But I want to give a huge amount of credit because this is a bittersweet loss to me. Only because my prediction continues to become more and more true every day. When I tell you guys I am one of the best QB scouts out there, I don't exaggerate. There's only one QB I've massively missed on in my entire career of scouting in the last, we're talking 6 years, 7 years of just analyzing film and laying it out and writing out all the quarterbacks that are the best. We're thinking back to high school here. The only quarterback I have missed on is Drew Lock. Drew Lock is the only QB I've missed on in my career. CJ Stroud is the one that I said would be the best in this class. I said Bryce Young would be the bust. And I think it had to do with, 1, his size, and 2, I think his decision-making has a severe effect on the way he performs. I really do. And, I know it's not easy in the Carolina offense to get things going, but you know what? In the end, he needs to figure things out. If you're going to be an elite quarterback, you got to make the most of what you have. Now, you could argue that Carolina's offensive weapons are stronger than Houston's. But the way it is their coaching has been better. the play calling has been better, the execution has been better, and the delivery has been better by their quarterback. That's what's been going on with Houston. That's why they're actually in this weird good phase. They're 3-1 at home and are 4-4 as their record. Unbelievable. They're playing 500 ball. Didn't see this coming. Now, C.J. Stroud, for those just wondering, 30 of 42 yesterday, 470 yards, 5 touchdowns. The yardage and the touchdowns are a single game record for all NFL rookies. In the history of NFL rookies, none of them have ever put up more yardage or touchdowns in a game than C.J. Stroud just did against Tampa Bay and Houston. That's what happened yesterday. And it's actually ridiculous that Tampa Bay couldn't stop it. But it's always history being made when Tampa Bay is facing somebody. It always is. Now, quick shout out to a few guys who played well yesterday. Baker Mayfield, 21 of 32, 65, 2 TDs, no interceptions. Rachaad White, 20 carries, 73 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And in terms of receiving, he also had 46 yards receiving on 4 catches. Top receiver for Tampa, though, was Mike Evans, 4 catches, 87 yards, no TDs. Houston's receiving needs to be brought up big time. Noah Brown, Dalton Schultz, and Tank Dell each had over 100 yards receiving on the day. 153 on 6 catches and a touchdown for Brown. 10 catches, 130 yards, and a touchdown for Dalton Schultz. And 6 catches for 114 and 2 touchdowns for Tank Dell. Nico Collins sitting outside of there with 54 yards on 3 catches and a touchdown. Just a dominant performance from Houston yesterday. Can't believe it. He had like 45 seconds on the clock, and he still won the game. Only needed 40. Now, in terms of defensive leaders, Levante David yesterday for Tampa, 11 total tackles, 9 solos, 2 tackles for loss. On the Houston side, Blake Cashman with 10 total tackles, 5 solos, and 2 tackles for loss. No interceptions yesterday. And in terms of turnovers, like I told you guys, you needed a clean game to really win this. Both teams had 1 turnover. Bucs had more time with the ball. And overall, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 compared to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They tied on the amount of drives they finished. They tied on the turnovers. And Tampa Bay had more time with the ball, which is actually kind of weird. Tampa Bay didn't have all 3. They tied in a lot of them, and they still lost. It's a weird thing. So they didn't win everything, so it doesn't negate what I said. But there's a lot of ties in there. You get what I'm saying? Like, in the end, Tampa Bay just couldn't pull it off. And it comes down to coaching. It simply comes down to coaching. You don't play prevent defense on the final drive of the game and let them build their way up with 46 seconds left. You do it when it's a deep drive and they're trying to go make big chunk plays downfield. You don't do it when they need short yardage and can slowly build it down. You don't do that. It's not right. You can't do that. Let's go to the next game. Next game, in this one, we go to the Dolphins and the Chiefs. 9:30 game. That one was in Germany. Chiefs won that one 21-14 over Miami. Miami tried to come back after going down 21-0. They came up just short. Miami falls 6-3. Chiefs 7-2. In the end, think of it like this. The Dolphins still have not beaten a team that's over 500 this year. 6-0 against teams under 500. 0-3 against teams 500 or better. The Vikings and the Falcons. Big storyline there in that game. The Vikings had Jaren Hall go down with an injury very early in the game. He was actually playing pretty well until the injury. So Josh Dobbs, who had not taken a snap in practice or even really got to know the names of any of his guys, had to practice his cadence at the line with the guys in his warm-ups before the game started. Just to make sure the guys knew in the event that he needed to go in, how his snap counts work, how his behavior is, what his calls are at the line. That's what that essentially what cadence is. He had established that with the linemen ahead of time in the event he had to go. And it was smart he did that because he had to go. So Dobbs goes into the game and he starts going on a tear. It was very close all the way through, but in the end the Vikings pulled it off and got the win 31-28 with Josh Dobbs. They're now over 500 with the win. And the Falcons are now under 500 at 4-5. But still better than the Bucs, who are 3-5. God. Cardinals and Browns. I mean, this was a kind of obvious game. Browns won this one 27-0. Cardinals couldn't do anything offensively. Clayton Tune starting, the rookie quarterback from Houston. He didn't do too good. He had 11 of 20, 58 yards, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. He had a very bad game. Very, very bad. And in terms of the ground game, Clayton Tune was the leading rusher with 28 yards on 5 carries. Top receiver Marquise Brown with 24 yards on 4 catches. The Browns just dominated in every facet of the game. 5-3 now. Cardinals are 1-8. That's where we stand at the moment. Now, let's keep building here. I don't think I need to explain it. Deshaun Watson, again, 219, 2 touchdowns. Amari Cooper, 5 catches, 139, and a touchdown. Rams-Packers. This one was a little bit of a trick game to me. I was thinking Rams, but I went with Packers. Because at the last second, I realized I think Stafford wasn't going to play. And that was the case. Brett Rippon played, and you guys saw what happened. Packers won this one 20-3 in front of their home crowd in Lambeau. They moved to 3-5. Rams fall to 3-6. Jordan Love, 228 and a touchdown. Jones, 20 carries, 73 yards and a touchdown. And Luke Musgrave, leading receiver, with 3 catches and 51 yards and a TD. Great game for him. And as for LA's passing game, Rippon, 13-28, 130, no TDs and interception. Not too good for him. At all. At all. Just not good. Commanders-Patriots, 2017, the final score there. Commanders with the victory. Patriots fall to 2-7. 2-7. And the Commanders are now 4-5. Sam Howell, 325, a TD and interception. Ramondre Stevenson, 9 carries, 87 yards and a touchdown for New England. And McLaurin for Washington, 5 catches, 73 yards. In the end, it was just a game where the Patriots couldn't get anything going offensively and made some bad decisions in very crucial moments. Juju Smith-Schuster couldn't reel in a ball in the final drive, and Washington caught it off the deflection for an interception. That was the game. I definitely blame Mac Jones for the throw, but Juju could have caught it. Bears and Saints is next. Bears with Tyson Bagent are trying their best to stay alive here and kind of do something productive. In the end, they fall short. The Saints get a crucial touchdown in the fourth quarter to win this one 24-17. They go to 5-4 and now lead the division in the NFC South. The Bears fall to 2-7. Bagent, 220, 2 TDs, 3 interceptions. Not a great day. Deontay Foreman, 20 carries, 83 yards. And Darnell Mooney, 5 catches for 82. All Chicago Bears. The Ravens took on the Seahawks in Baltimore. There was a lot of controversy on whether the Seattle Seahawks could pull off the upset and win this one, knowing how Baltimore's been a little shaky this year for the most part. And in the end, the Baltimore Ravens did exactly what they did when they faced the Lions. They smothered them, beat them 37-3. Lamar with 187 yards in the air. No passing touchdowns, though. Keaton Mitchell, the undrafted rookie running back, is the star of the game with 138 yards on the ground on 9 carries with 1 touchdown. But also include Gus Edwards here. 5 carries, 52 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He had himself a good game, too. In the receiving end, Mark Andrews, 9 catches, 80 yards, no touchdowns. But one touchdown technically for one man, Mr. Odell Beckham Jr., catching a pass from Tyler Huntley, who had to fill in after Lamar Jackson had a little bit of a stinger injury late in the game. Odell Beckham Jr. caught his first career touchdown as a Raven and went on that 56 yards on 5 catches. Seattle side, Geno Smith, 13-28, 157, an interception, no touchdowns. He has officially regressed, people. He has gone through a regression. If you didn't see it coming, you should have. Kenny Walker, 9 carries, 16 yards. Terrible, terrible game against Baltimore's defense. Just terrible. Receiving, Seattle, JSN, 6 catches for 63 yards. DK Metcalf had 1 for 50. And in terms of turnovers, it was just not a good game overall. Both teams still struggling with that. But there wasn't the 1 interception. In the end, it was Seattle not being able to limit their turnovers, and they just really struggled. Didn't have much time with the ball on offense, and they paid the price for it, as they got completely bullied by the Ravens, 37-3. Colts-Panthers was after that. This one was the 4 o'clock window. Let's go into that real quick. The 4 o'clock window. Colts-Panthers. Colts won this one. Panthers fall to 1-7. Colts are 4-5 now, led by Gardner Minshew. They win this one 27-13. Panthers tried to claw their way back into this, but it was just too much for them to overcome. Bryce Young with 3 interceptions and 1 touchdown. 2 of those interceptions were resulted in pick sixes. Both to Kenny Moore. What? 2 pick sixes to the same guy. I can't believe it. Gardner Minshew, 17-26, 127 and a touchdown. Jonathan Taylor had a pretty quiet day for the most part. 18 carries, 47 yards. Same goes for Zach Moss, 7 for 26. Carolina's side, though, Chuba Hubbard, leading rusher, 58 yards on 16 carries. And in terms of the touchdowns, like we talked about, the passing touchdown was to DJ Chark, 2 catches and 9 yards. Leading receiver of the day was Hayden Hurst, 2 catches for 54. On the Indianapolis side, Michael Pittman Jr., the leading receiver, once again, 8 catches, 64. The 1 touchdown catching-wise was to Jonathan Taylor, 5 for 22 and a TD. Overall, a decent performance from the Colts keeps them afloat. They're now 4-5 and are 3-1 on the road this year. Giants-Raiders, another 4 o'clock game. Giants fans are probably here in the chat. They're not going to like what I'm about to say, but you know what I'm going to say. Hope y'all are prepared for this. Daniel Jones done for the year. I'm pretty sure. He may not be in a Giants uniform after this year either. Just be prepared for that. That's a real possibility. But Vegas crushed the Giants bad. 30-6 in Vegas. Giants fall to 2-7. Raiders are now 4-5. Aiden O'Connell, 16-25, 209, no TDs, no interceptions. A decent passing game managing performance for him. New York, not so good. Daniel Jones was 4 of 9 for 25 yards before coming out with an injury that looks to be a torn ACL, so best of luck to him in his recovery. Tommy DeVito, though, in relief, finally threw the ball more after fans have been crying to see him do more in this offense, and they did that. 15 of 20, 175, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. Both those interceptions were consecutive when he was first coming into the game, given up to the Raiders. But after that, he was much cleaner, much better football game for him. But the Giants just couldn't finish their drives and get the victories they needed, and they fall short. He did get 1 touchdown, though, and that 1 touchdown was to Wan'Dale Robinson. Leading receiver was Darius Slayton, 4 catches, 59. Leading rusher was Saquon with 16 carries for 90 yards. In fact, Josh Jacobs was actually the leading rusher of the day. 26 carries, 98 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Very impressive, 2 touchdowns. Jacoby Myers, 1 carry for 17 yards and a touchdown. They ran a little screen route, a little end around with him. Got a touchdown out of it. Worked out really well. So Vegas just completely smothered them and didn't leave them any answers. Max Crosby, though, was on absolute demon timing yesterday. 3 sacks on the Giants. Unbelievable. 3 sacks. For those keeping count, Max Crosby is now at 9.5 sacks on the year with that. Unbelievable what he did yesterday to those Giants. But also more unbelievable, the Giants are just having that bad of luck that the injuries are just going to destroy their season. Cowboys and Eagles. This was the most anticipated game going into yesterday. The 4 o'clock window. That ended up being an Eagles victory on a patented, guaranteed, usual Dak Prescott choke. Dak Prescott choked again. You had it in the red zone. With plenty of time. And you choked it. You threw a pass 4 yards short and it ended up being like the Super Bowl when the Rams won with the greatest show on turf in 1999. When they come up 1 yard short of winning the Super Bowl. Or tying it at least, when it was the Titans. Like the same thing again. Cowboys lose, Eagles win 2023. Leading performer of the day was Dak Prescott somehow. 374, 3 touchdowns, no picks. 29-44. Hurts, not his best passing day, honestly. 17-23, 207, 2 touchdowns. In terms of rushing, moves on the ground, Tony Pollard, leading rusher of the game, 51 yards on 12 carries. On Philly's side, DeAndre Swift, 18 for 43. But Jalen Hurts and Gainwell each had their own touchdowns to add to that. In the receiving side, Dallas, the 3 receiving touchdowns went to Kevontae Turpin, Jalen Tolbert, and Jake Ferguson. Ferguson with 91 yards yesterday on 7 catches. Tolbert with 49 on 3. And that for Turpin, that was his only catch, that touchdown for 5 yards. CeeDee Lamb, though, leading receiver all the way around. 11 catches, 191 yards. That's wild. That's actually insane. Great game for him. On Philly's side, it's a touchdown to Brown and Devonta Smith, as expected. 7 catches, 66 for AJ, 3 for 51 for Devonta. And now we move over into the Sunday Night Football game, which was Bills-Bengals. Bengals won this one 24-18. If you thought the Bills were winning, you're not alone. I had Buffalo winning this game as well. And yes, it backfired massively. Now, Josh Allen did not have a good game, really. He just didn't. He tried to lead a clutch drive down the end, but it just failed. 26 of 38, 258, a touchdown and an interception. Allen, the leading rusher, with 8 carries for 44 yards. On Cincinnati's side, Burrow looking like Joe Cool again, Joe Shiesty. 31 of 44, 348, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Mixon, the leading rusher for them, 14 for 37, and a touchdown. The 2 passing touchdowns for the Bengals went to Drew Sample, his first of the year. I believe it was his first of the year, actually. 3 catches for 30 for him. Yep, first of the year. And then Irv Smith Jr. had a touchdown of his own as well. 3 catches, 26 yards. Leading receiver was T. Higgins, 8 catches, 110. For Buffalo, Stephon Diggs, leading receiver, 86 yards and a TD. But also shout out to Dalton Kincaid, 10 for 81, and Khalil Shakir with 4 for 57. In terms of top performers overall, I mean, I guess I'll give my credit to the interception going to Cam Taylor-Britt. Also had 2 total tackles and 1 solo in the game, along with the pass deflection. Good game for him. Jermaine Pratt and Mike Hilton were also all over the place. 11 totals for Jermaine, 10 from Hilton. Hilton had all 10 be a solo, though, which is really impressive. Defensive side for Buffalo, Jordan Poyer, 11 total tackles. Tyrell Dodson with 10. Each of them had 8 solos out of that. But that's really the story. Buffalo falls to now 5-4, and Bengals go to 5-3. And even though Miami lost to the Chiefs, they're still in first place in the division now. So everything's in their hands and is primed for them to be victorious. That's the beautiful thing. Everything is beautifully done. Armand is in the chat. What's going on, my man? He says, embrace the tank. That's the Giants' motto. I agree with that. I agree. Listen, man, if you got any thoughts, feel free to call into the show. The call-ins are open. You have the link in the chat to look it up and go for it. But yes, Giants have to embrace the tank at this point. It is really just, I'm done. Done with it. Everything went wrong for them yesterday. Big time. If the season wasn't already gone, it's gone now. Daniel Jones owed $35.5 million base salary is fully guaranteed next year. Yep, and you have to find a way to somehow get rid of that contract. Either you got to go another year with him and wait till the option comes in, or you have to find a way to move him. It depends on what you guys think is best. Do you want to go with a brand new QB, or do you want to wait another year? That's essentially what it comes down to. And that's the question for the Giants. What is the best move? Now, this is going to bring us into the Monday Night Football prediction, which isn't listed here, but I'm going to give it anyway. Tonight's game, Chargers, Jets. Big game, big game, big game. Now, if you guys are asking who I'm pulling for, I'm going to be honest with you. My pick is for the Chargers. I do want the Jets to win. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I want the Jets to win the game. I am pulling for the Chargers, though. Let me explain this in full extent. The Chargers are in a bad spot and have their backs against the wall. If they want any chance of winning right now, they've got to figure something out. And the only way you could figure this out is you got to beat the Jets. Now, here's the pressure for the Jets in this. The Chargers are 3-4. They need this win to get to 500 and still be alive in the wild card race. For the Jets at 4-3 and being 2-2 at home, the beautiful thing for them is a win here puts you a game, and I mean this seriously, a game and a half back. Sorry, not a game and a half. A half a game back from the Miami Dolphins with Zach Wilson as your quarterback. That's ridiculous. Let me tell you, I don't care what Jets fans feel about the coaching staff or whatever. I'm calling this as it is. Robert Saleh and their defensive coordinator are the main reason this team is even alive right now. If this season ends with them not making the postseason again, or the playoffs, it's fine. And you shouldn't fire Saleh. I don't think he has anything to do with any of these issues. The fact they're 4-3 with Zach Wilson is actually a miracle. And as of last week, how about this for a stat? He leads the league in comeback drives. He leads the game in comebacks. 3 on the year. He has the most in the league. That is not a false fact. You could look it up. He leads the league in that stat. This is a big game for New York, and they need the win. Again, Chargers are heavily favored. 3.5 on the line. 8:15 Eastern on ABC and ESPN. I know I didn't put it here in the ticker, but it is tonight. ABC, ESPN, 8:15 Eastern time. Now for the Jets, this is a big game. You really want to keep it close in the divisional race because, let's say by some freaking miracle that the Jets stay alive and Aaron Rodgers comes back early. Because if I'm being honest with you, the way he's talking, it's going to sound really weird, and I might be a little out of my mind, but he can be back by week 13. If he's on the field doing dropbacks and throwing, even though they're light, he could be ready to go in a month. He could be ready to go by December. By the beginning of December. If they can keep it alive for 4 more weeks, right? The Jets keep it alive 4 more weeks, they're good. They're actually in a very beautiful spot. And Rodgers will have time to get his legs under him. Things are going to be great. Now, Armand also helped me out here with some more information. The dead cap would be $69 million, yes, if you move on from Jones. That's why I feel a trade would be best, but who would trade for that contract for a starter that really is unproven with an injury history? That's the question. Allen Lazard is also expected to play tonight for the Jets. That's a big deal. But let's continue here. Let's take a deeper dive. Into the injuries for tonight. Adrian Amos is also questionable to play. As for the Chargers, Sebastian Joseph Day, Kenneth Murray Jr., Jalen Guyton, and Otito Ogbonnia, the defensive tackle, they're all questionable to play tonight. Josh Palmer will not play. He's, in fact, on IR. Dwayne Brown, same situation. He's on IR returning, but he's not eligible to come back tonight. He's not going to make his return tonight. As for what you need to talk about with the cool thing with the Jets, at one point, they were let me just make sure I got the number right? They were 1-3 on the year. And then they have won 3 consecutive games. They're on a 3-game winning streak, beating Denver, which is like, okay. But then beating Philly somehow. And then beating the Giants in overtime. That was an ugly game. Very ugly game, I know. But now there's a chance to beat the Chargers. And his defense is going up against a very high-powered offense. But you're also going up against an incompetent coach who has a lot of issues, like Brandon Staley. This is somebody you can beat. Realistically, you can beat this guy. What it's going to take is a strong performance from Zach and a strong performance from the defense. Then let's go into the details more in depth here. So, important thing to know, both teams are coming off a win. Chargers beat the Bears 30-13 last week. Jets beat the Giants 13-10 in OT. The Chargers offense, this is what I mean to watch for. 7th best offense in the league. Their run game has been not too good. But at the same time, the Jets' deep run defense has not been good either. They're ranked 31st in the league in run defense. Not good at all. 2nd worst. So I expect Eckler to have a good day today. In terms of passing, which is the Chargers' strong suit, this is the cool part. That's why this matchup is so difficult. The Jets' overall defense is 14th in the league. Their run game is 31st, and their pass game is 5th. For the Chargers' offense, they're 7th overall, 22nd in rushing, which means they have a chance to get better against this Jets defense. We'll see what Eckler does. But passing, they're 6th. The 6th best passing offense is going against the 5th best pass defense in the league. This is big. Let's see what the Jets can pull out. So it's really going to come down to the pass defense and really shutting that down. You have to shut down the open lanes. And not having Palmer tonight gives the advantage tilted towards New York. So you're going to have to work with, again, you got to cover up the important guys out there that'll play. So you're talking about covering Johnston and Allen and also Parham. Those are the main guys you got to worry about. The tight end, the dude is sneaky in red zone situations, has some good long-range ability downfield. Same thing goes for Keenan Allen with his size that he can utilize. He's really just he's a carbon copy, if not better, version of Mike Evans. And Quentin Johnston, the rookie, dude is a beast, athletic freak. This is a guy who can do a lot of damage. I expect that matchup to be really big to watch. And in terms of a scoring offense, the Chargers are 9th in the league. Jets defense is 8th in the league. So this is very evenly matched between this offense and defense. So they're going to be going and butting heads all night. So now he asked the Jets offense to do something. Well, it's going to be a very similar situation. The Chargers defense is 31st overall in the league. Why? Because their pass defense is god-awful. The worst in the league by far. But this is going up against also the second worst passing offense in the league in the Jets. Today, Zach Wilson, this is my prediction. Zach Wilson, 200 plus passing yards today. I still think I think the Chargers are going to win, but I want the Jets to win. I mean that so seriously. I want the Jets to win. I'm picking the Chargers. But still, let's continue off that notion. You're talking about the 31st ranked pass offense against the 32nd ranked pass defense. Jets compared to Chargers. Scoring-wise, Jets offense is 26th. Defense for the Chargers, 24th. In running, the Jets offense is 18th. The Chargers defense, 6th. They have a phenomenal run defense. And the Jets offense is average in running offense. But I think Breece Hall could do some damage today, so I would watch that too. So overall, you're talking about, again, somewhat balanced still. Passing and scoring is balanced in terms of that matchup. The run game is a mismatch. The defense has the advantage. But Breece Hall, if he gets off to a hot start, the Chargers are going to be struggling, focusing more on the run game, which opens up even more for the passing for Zach Wilson. So tonight, the priority, establish the run so that Wilson has the option to go through the air and be more comfortable that way. Because if everything goes right for the Jets, they should beat the Chargers. This defense has kept them in games so many times this year. This is another opportunity to do so. They need to do this tonight. Establish the run. The run game takes control. Wilson has open opportunities, and they take advantage of it. Now, understand, the other problem with the Jets tonight is the injuries. The injuries are a big deal because their offensive line has been really, really banged up. Well, tonight, it's important to note that Connor McGovern and Wes Schweitzer were both put on IR, so they can't play. So tonight, this is the expected lineup. Mekhi Becton will likely be the left tackle. Laken Tomlinson will likely be the left guard. I'm not sure how this is going to go, but if I'm correct, I think Tippmann will play center. Billy Turner will have to fill in at the right guard spot, and at the right tackle spot is Max Mitchell. That's what they're down to on their offensive line. That's what they're working with. I don't think it's bad. I'm really worried about that right side. Well, not really. I'm worried about the interior as a whole. Tomlinson's fine. Tippmann's okay. Turner at the right guard spot scares me, and that's why I think the right side's the weaker spot tonight. That would be Zach Wilson's, not his blind side. I think his blind side's fine. I'm worried about coming off the right, which he has the vision for to avoid. Let's see if he can fight through that tonight and make some things work. As we go to the Chargers side and check out their injuries, let's take a look at what they're dealing with. Well, Guyton is questionable for tonight, but it's looking like it's going to be Allen, Quentin Johnston, and Darius Davis as the starters today in the receiving group. Eckler and Kelly, that's the duo. Herbert's good to go. Gerald Everett and Donald Parham are the two guys I said to watch out for as well. I forgot about Gerald Everett. Those four are the guys to watch for the Chargers offense. Allen, Johnston, Everett, Parham. Solid offensive line. But you're talking about a guy who hasn't really been sacked too much this year. We're talking about in Justin Herbert. He's been staying upright for the most part, I'll be honest with you guys. I would say if I'm correct, I think the quarterbacks have been sacked. Let me just make sure I'm right about Herbert. Herbert is in the... Justin Herbert is in the... Sorry, guys, I'm getting the number real quick. Justin Herbert is tied at 23rd for sacks this year. He's only been sacked 15 times, which is the same amount as Jared Goff and Gardner Minshew, which is pretty damn good. So I wouldn't be too upset about that. He's having himself he's been protected. He's got the time. He's got everything he needs. He could be worse. He could be in like a Zach Wilson situation or a Bryce Young situation, getting completely destroyed behind his line. And Wilson, 7th, by the way, in sacks. So that's another thing to watch. His mobility is key. He's got to be able to read when his offensive line's crumbling and when to make a proper rollout. That's what it's going to come down to for Zach Wilson as well. 23 sacks this year. He's been sacked 23 times. So in the end, I'm kind of going towards the Chargers. I'm going towards the Chargers for the win, but I want the Jets to win. I really do. I love chaos and madness. I'd love to see Zach Wilson get another one. I'd love to see it. Make it a 4-game win streak. Let's go. Show it. Start 1-3, get 4 in a row. Do a reverse Tampa Bay. Reverse. 1-3 to 5-3. Do it. I have no problems with it. I welcome it. And that's my expectation for tonight. Armand, if you got any betting advice, feel free to give it out. Any ideas you have for tonight's Monday Night Football parlay or any little bets, feel free to add them in. As we're now going to go into college football for a quick recap of that. Let's go to college football. For college football, I'm sure everybody saw the Caleb Williams stuff going on there. A lot of questions. But let's start with the scores from this weekend. Let's go over what we saw from Week 10. In the top 25, the big games. I wanted to put a post out telling you guys which games to watch, but I was again fighting the flu. I didn't really get better until quite literally yesterday morning, and I had to rush in for a work shift. So I didn't get better until yesterday. And these were the games that you were to watch that really worked out. Georgia, Missouri, I would have told you was the game to watch. Number 2 versus number 12. Georgia gets the win, though, 30-21. They still scare me. They really do scare me, though. They're a terrifying squad, in my opinion. I mean, Georgia, I can't even tell you if I think they're true number ones. They're number 2s now at this point because of the CFP now doing their rankings for the actual bracket. They're number 2 in the country. Ohio State is now the new number 1. Speaking of Ohio State, I would have told you Rutgers was another game to watch. And it was a lot like that for the most part until about the 4th. That's what I'll say. Until about the 3rd or 4th, I would have told you that. But final score, 35-16. Ohio State with the win over Rutgers. Purdue, Michigan, that was a blowout. You had to know. 41-13 Michigan. Number 4, Florida State wipes Pittsburgh. I wouldn't have told you to watch that. Washington, USC, I would have definitely told you to watch that. And it was close. It was a highly contested game. But Washington won 52-42. 3 losses on the year for USC. Caleb Williams had himself a hell of a game, man. Left it all on the field. We'll talk about the controversy after we go through the final score ratings here. Oregon versus Cal, kind of obvious. Oregon crushes Cal, 63-19. In overtime between Kansas State and Texas, which should not have happened, Texas gets the win 33-30 because Kansas State decided to get cute. Instead of kick a field goal to extend the overtimes, they went for it on 4th down. And lost the game ultimately. LSU, Alabama, another really good game. LSU loses to Alabama 42-28. Jaden Daniels had himself a somewhat okay game. Except he had 163 yards on the ground as a quarterback. Kind of wild. On top of 219 yards in the air. Literally a machine. Literally a machine. Oklahoma State, another game we should have watched, and for good reason, because the Sooners are done. They will not make it to the CFP now. They lost to Oklahoma State 27-24. Dylan Gabriel, a decent game, 344, touchdown, interception. Ole Miss, A&M, definitely a game I would have told you to watch because A&M's never an easy win. But Ole Miss squeaks it out, wins at 38-35. Number 10, Ole Miss with the win. Penn State crushing Maryland. That would have been a little contested. I probably would have told you to watch it, but Penn State wins at 51-15 in a blowout. Because, of course. Louisville, Virginia Tech. Number 13, Louisville wins this one 34-3. Let's go to Notre Dame. Notre Dame taking on Clemson. Clemson with the massive upset over Notre Dame. Number 15 in the nation. They lose. The Tigers with the big win 31-23. Oregon State, Colorado. No surprise here. Oregon State with the win. I would have told you to watch Colorado as a possible upset team. That was not the case. Colorado loses. Oregon State wins. Number 17, Tennessee against UConn. Yeah, this was too obvious. UConn's not a football school. Tennessee wins 59-3. Utah and Arizona State, another obvious one. Arizona State's just not a good team at all. Hasn't been for some years now. They lose to Utah 55-3 in a blowout. Number 19, UCLA against Arizona, who I told you was the king of upsets. They've been upsetting a lot of teams this year and just throwing them off their game. They did it again and beat UCLA 27-10. A 3-game win streak against ranked teams. Number 19, Washington State loses to them in a blowout. While Oregon State loses to them in a close one. And UCLA loses in a somewhat blowout. Just strong performances from the Wildcats. Kansas against Iowa State. Another game I probably would have told you to keep an eye on if Iowa State acts up. That is what happened. And Kansas ended up squeaking out the win 28-21. Tulane, East Carolina. I wouldn't have told you to watch this one, but East Carolina gave up a good fight. But they did lose 13-10. They're 1-8 on the year. The Carolina Pirates, East Carolina Pirates, and Tulane moves to 8-1. And in a shocking upset, Army plays Air Force, and the Armed Forces games are always trap games. Never bet them. If you're a bettor on college football, never bet the Armed Forces games when they face off, because it's never predictable. It's never easy. Air Force, who was undefeated at this point, loses to Army 23-3. Army gets the victory. They go to 3-6 on the year. Air Force to 8-1. It is never easy betting. And so that's the results from Week 10. A few upsets, a few changes. Let's take a look at the rankings now. CFP AP Coaches Poll. The AP poll is out, and Georgia's still number 1. We're waiting for the CFP poll to come out, so this way we can get a true determination of a number 1. That's all we're waiting on now. But right now, Georgia, number 1 according to the AP. Michigan 2. Ohio State is 3. Florida State 4. Then rounded out with Washington at 5. Oregon 6. Texas at 7. Alabama at 8. Penn State at 9. The top 9 have stayed the same. Ole Miss goes to 10. Louisville goes to 11. Oregon State goes to 12. Utah to 13. And Tennessee to 14. Big rises between Louisville and Tennessee. Louisville and Oregon State went up 4 spots. Utah and Tennessee went up 5 spots. Oklahoma State, who was not ranked before, are ranked now. They're number 15 in the country after that big win over OU. Missouri, after losing to Georgia in a somewhat close fashion, they fall only 2 spots down to number 16. Oklahoma falls 7 spots after the devastating loss to Oklahoma State. They're now number 17. LSU losing to Alabama drops them 5 spots down to 18. Kansas with a big win goes up 3 spots to 19. Tulane with the win goes up 1 to 20. James Madison goes up 2 spots with another victory. They're now number 21 in the country. And Notre Dame, with their big loss falling to 7-3, have gone down 10 spots to number 22. And 3 new unranks have arrived at the bottom. Arizona 23, North Carolina 24, and Liberty 25. Liberty still hasn't lost a game this year as well. Let's take a look at James Madison. How are they rising so quickly? Was it a dominant win? Yes. It was a dominant win to the Georgia State Panthers. That's what it took. Big dominant win. 42-14 was the win there. They end up still staying somehow up in the top 25. Not playing great teams, but they're there. They're there. Armand says on YouTube that it is a Jets game, so he doesn't have any bets for the Jets game. Makes sense. I get it. As a fan, you don't bet your own games. I totally understand. So I will add this as well. Yeah, I really do think that college football, I'm happy to see Georgia at 1 as a Georgia fan, but I just don't agree with it. I still don't think they're the number 1 team. I just don't. It's either Michigan or Ohio State. One of those two is number 1, not Georgia. If I had to personally rank it, I think Ohio State is 1. I think Ohio State's 1, Georgia's 2, Michigan's 3. And they will continue to be 3 because with the supposed rumor that Harbaugh will get an indefinite suspension from the NCAA, it could spell bad news for Michigan moving forward. There's a rumor out there that he could be indefinitely suspended. But if you think that this past week was tough for betting, wait till you see this week. If you thought Saturday was bad, this Saturday is going to be worse. A couple games just so you guys understand like the grasp of like how big this is. Ole Miss and Georgia, number 10 versus number 2. That's on Saturday. Michigan and Penn State, 3 and 11. That's also on Saturday. You've got Alabama and Kentucky. Kentucky, a really good team that's not ranked. Alabama's got to beat them to stay alive here. That's another good one. Let's talk about the Hurricanes and the Seminoles. That's another one. Trap game. Watch that one. Utah, Washington. Competitive, 5 versus 18. Tennessee and Mizzou, 12 and 17. Another big one. Not the Oklahoma State game. Not Oregon State. Not OU. Ohio State's got Michigan State, but you guys already know how Michigan State plays, so I'm not even worried. LSU's another one. LSU playing Florida. 6 and 3, 5 and 4. That's a big game. Oregon, USC. That's the last one to care about. That's a 10:30 game. Oregon versus USC. If USC finds a way to beat the Ducks are done for the year. They will be eliminated from the CFP. So a lot at stake in these games. A lot at stake. So that's that for the college football weekend recap. Again, call-ins are open if you guys want to have any conversations or talk about anything, any concerns as we get ready to go into our final topic. So feel free to fill in with any information you guys may have. As we have our decision, people, we have our decision coming in right now. Breaking news. I'm pulling in John Heyman for this. Big news. If you are a Mets fan, you are about to freak out. We have an answer. We're going in. We have our Mets manager. The Mets have a manager. It's official. Carlos Mendoza is being hired to manage the Mets. Carlos Mendoza is the new manager of the New York Mets. That's the breaking news, people. Breaking news there. Carlos Mendoza, welcome to New York. You are going to be hated by many people. Just a fair warning. But Joel Sherman and John Heyman just confirmed and reported that Carlos Mendoza will be the new manager of the New York Mets, which means Craig Counsell, who was going to do an announcement on where he was going to go, will not be going to the Mets, which likely will indicate he's going back to the Brewers. I mean, well, not likely. I'll add this. Counsell is going to announce which team he's going to manage. His announcement's coming this afternoon. This is according to John Heyman 27 minutes ago. Mets and Brewers are finalists. The Mets are now out because of their announcement. So it's the Brewers and whoever else is involved. So it's Carlos Mendoza as the new manager of the New York Mets. I can't believe it. I didn't expect it to happen so quickly, but it did. And a couple other quick news updates before we go into the MLB offseason storylines. The Jedrick Wills Jr., left tackle for the Browns, has an MCL high-grade sprain, low-grade PCL sprain, and bone bruises. He's going to miss about 6 weeks, and so he's going to have to go on IR. He should be able to return this season, though, regardless. And Schefter was just on the Pat McAfee show and said the people in the building would never admit this, but the best thing they could do is lose games right now. That's what is coming from the New York Giants without actually saying it. They're looking either at, and it looks like if you're thinking about it, they're either looking at Marvin Harrison Jr., Drake May, or Caleb Williams. They have to really be thinking about those things. But there's more to talk about. Let's see what else there is to discuss. Any other things we could talk about? Yep, we have a confirmation. Daniel Jones out for the season with torn ACL. He's getting surgery, and he's going to try to be ready for the 2024 season. Now, from what else I've heard, what else? Here we go. If you guys remember the legend himself, Stephen Vaught, the catcher, two-time All-Star, never managed in his life. He is the new manager for the Cleveland Guardians. The Guardians have their manager. Stephen Vaught, the former All-Star catcher, is the new manager for the Guardians. Now you go into MLB offseason. Take a look into it. So, important storylines to watch. We already talked about one of them, which is, again, Shohei Ohtani. We don't know where he's going to go. He's coming back from an injury. He's probably getting Tommy John again. He needs to do what's best for him. Interestingly enough, you get Tommy John surgery, you can't pitch, but you can still hit. So he can probably serve as a DH next season for whichever team takes him and still be able to hit and not have any damage to the ligament. Interestingly enough. Now, supposedly the Guardians did make a serious run at Counsell, but they did not pull him out as well. So you don't have the Guardians pick, you don't have the Mets. So it's looking more and more like, to me, that Brewers will likely be the team he goes back to. And I take it back as Jeff Passan has just shut me the hell up. There's growing belief that Craig Counsell could be leaving Milwaukee for another managerial job. It won't be the Mets who just hired Carlos Mendoza. For those who don't know, Mendoza served as the Yankees bench coach for the last 4 seasons, been a coach in the organization the last 15. So it's a new guy. New face from the Yankees organization is just going to go across boroughs over to Queens. Now, here's some storylines we'll talk about. Some real free agency stuff to really think about here. One player to talk about is going to be Cody Bellinger. That's definitely one guy they've been discussing is Cody Bellinger. He just won National League Comeback Player of the Year. So he is in serious conversations right now to get some good money. Like, good money. And there's other guys you can include in this too. Marcus Stroman, another free agent. He's not going back. It doesn't. We don't know if he's going back to the Cubs. But he had a very, very good year before his injury. He's expected to have a market value about $15.5 million, which is way down than what his salary was last year. Javi Baez has an opt-out option here, $25 million. Joey Votto's a free agent officially. The Reds denied him. 40 years old, looking maybe for another shot somewhere else, or he might retire. We don't know. Kershaw's free agent. Ryu's a free agent. You've got Martin Perez, Jock Peterson, Lance Lynn, Yasmani Grandal, Liam Hendricks, Adam Wainwright, who's pretty much retired. Bellinger, who I said was an unrestricted free agent, he is available as well. Only 28 years old. Good lefty bat to have in your lineup. He's going to command more money. Probably about somewhere between about $22 million. Justin Turner, free agent. Evan Longoria, free agent. Brandon Crawford, Eduardo Rodriguez, Julio Urias, Josh Hader, Teoscar Hernandez, Will Smith, Matt Chapman. That's an intriguing one. Matt Chapman, a free agent from Toronto. That's going to be a guy a lot of people will go after. They need a good third baseman, good bat. That would be your option. Alex Wood, Sean Manaea from San Francisco, Jorge Soler, Rhys Hoskins, Michael Brantley, Mike Clevenger, Carlos Carrasco, Aaron Nola, Joey Gallo, Lucas Giolito, Randall Grishuk, Sonny Gray, Blake Snell, Luis Severino, Jordan Montgomery, Enrique Hernandez. It keeps going too. Kyle Gibson, David Robertson, JD Martinez, Craig Kimbrell, Corey Kluber, Eduardo Escobar, Paxton, Matt Barnes, Brandon Belt, Eddie Rosario, Kevin Kiermaier, Nick Martinez, Zach Greinke, Pomeranz, Lorenzen, Joe Kelly, Hector Neris, Aaron Loop, Johnny Cueto, Giovanni Urshela, which is Gio Urshela, Adam Frazier, Rich Hill, Jake Odorizzi. I do think Rich Hill's going to retire, though. We're talking about guys going to be 44 by next season. Ahmed Rosario, Matt Moore, Seth Lugo, Frankie Montas, Tyler Mahle, Jesse Winker, CJ Crone. Adam Ottavino has a player option, but he's also someone to watch. Jurickson Profar, Duvall, Danny Hudson, Mark Melancon, Carlos Santana, David Peralta, Michael Wacha, Andrew Chafin, Tommy Pham, who just had an incredible postseason. IKF, Brad Keller, Jack Flaherty, Harrison Bader, Eric Lauer, Candelario, Austin Hedges, McCutcheon, Davies, Miller, G-Man Choi. Brad Miller. Joe Wendell, Michael Taylor, Martin Maldonado, Wade Miley, Chad Green, who has a club option with Toronto, Garrett Cooper, Tim Anderson, Kirby Yates, club option, Whit Merrifield, Scott Kingery, Trevor Rosenthal, Michael Fulmer, Mitch Garver, Aroldis Chapman, Tony Kemp, Reynaldo Lopez, Reen Stanek, Jorge Lopez, Luis Garcia, Emilio Pagan, Wandy Peralta, Shintaro Fujinami, Kirk Casale, Vincent Velasquez, Lourdes Gurriel, Kenta Maeda, Adalberto Mondesi, Brent Suter, Kevin Pillar, Elvis Andrus, Drew Rucinski, Chris Stratton, Victor Caratini, Jake Junis, Drew Verhagen, Jared Walsh, Domingo Armand, Phil Maton, Roberto Perez, Colton Wong, Jarlin Garcia, John Brebbia, Jose Cisnero, C.J. Edwards, Brad Hands, Francisco Mejia, Donovan Solano, Robbie Grossman, Joely Rodriguez even, Austin Voth, Jordan Hicks, Robert Stevenson, Buck Farmer, Tom Murphy, Eliezer Hernandez, Lucas Luque. There's just so many. I can't continue going. I'll add in a couple more I recognize as we go. Miguel Andujar, Matt Duffy, Gary Sanchez, Julio Teheran, Didi Gregorius, who's overseas technically right now, Trace Thompson, Luplow, Betancourt, Jankowski, Jesse Chavez, who's probably going to retire, or as Big Blue in the Bronx would like to argue, which is hysterical. Hysterical, by the way. As we like to call him, I used to call him Julio Urias, but I used to get them mixed up. That was the problem. Armand adds in a couple things here before I continue with the free agent list that I'm seeing. He said Mets hired Carlos Mendoza. I already reported that. Thank you so much for doubling down. I appreciate it. Kershaw's having shoulder surgery and won't be back till summer. Yes, that there's a good chance he may not even be on a team until he recovers from the surgery. Other guys to keep an eye on. Let's see. Sandy Leon, the catcher from Texas. Franchi Cordero, Michael Chavis. Jackie Bradley Jr. Other notable ones. Let's see. We got one. Keenan Middleton, who actually was pretty good with the Yankees, honestly, as a reliever. He was pretty good. I'm not going to lie to you guys. He did pretty well. Dominic Leon, or Dominic the Donkey, as Angry John would like to call him. Carlos Perez, the catcher for Oakland. Eric Haas, as well for Cleveland. Jason Hayward, a free agent, as well. Let's add in Zach I'm not going to add Zach McAllister to that. Mike Moustakas, Archie Bradley. Aaron Hicks is a free agent. Jake Marisnick. Dallas Keuchel. I'm not going to say Luke Weaver. Let's say Chris Davinsky. Shane Green. Josh Donaldson. Jose Urena. Not Josh Lester. Let's say any other names I'm recognizing. I'm going through the list trying to find anybody else here. Chris Flexen. That's another one. Chris Flexen. Chichi Gonzalez. Let's see. Anybody else who's been really good this year. Jimmy Cordero, another one from the Yankees. Anybody else? Let's keep going. I'm trying to get you guys some notable names. Raimel Tapia from Tampa Bay. And then I go through the rest of the way. Let's see. I don't have anybody else that's major names. Hunter Strickland, I'll add to the list, I guess. And anybody else has been hanging around, like Hunter Renfroe, Hunter Dozier, Mad Bum, still around. Jose Alvarez, Hunter Strickland, we said. Tyler Naquin. Just pretty much that's really it. That's all that's every single free agent I could find on here that's listed. So a lot of options. A lot of people can go wherever they want, multiple directions like this. A lot can happen. If I gave predictions, I'd be kind of a madman. I don't think there's any predictions I could really give. Those are your free agents, though. That's what you're dealing with right now. So I will inform you guys whatever it is. We do have an update from Ken Rosenthal, which is actually kind of a big deal. I'm going to bring it up now so we can do this final update for baseball before we go any further. But here it is. Craig Counsell will manage next season, but it won't be for the Brewers or Mets, according to the sources to The Athletic. He's heading to a team with an existing manager. So a team with an existing manager is going to get Craig Counsell. Does this mean... Wait. That's actually a big deal. Does that mean he's joining the coaching staff? Or is he physically going to become the manager and they're going to oust the one that's already there? Let me ask a question. Take a look at some of these things they're saying here. Somebody just said Boone is an existing manager. So does that mean that he is going to be done? Could he be an option? That's the question in all of this. Is Boone maybe the guy? It could be him. The Yankees have been demanding for a while some changes. What if it's Boone? I mean, you go through the comments, you're seeing Red Sox or Yankees. And it's an existing manager, so that means it won't be San Diego and it won't be the Astros. So you can count those two out. Don't forget that too. So that means Astros and Padres will not be the choice. It'll be a team that already has a manager. Who will it be? So I'm a little curious to see which team he's going to that currently has a manager. It can't be the Dodgers. It can't be the Dodgers. Why is it so cryptic, go? Everybody's saying it's Yankees. Everybody's trying to argue that it's Yankees. I'm trying to figure out, is he going to a reduced role or is he taking over a managerial position? That will be the question in the end. I legitimately don't know. We have an update. Michael Conforto's opting in and will make $18 million for the Giants in 2024. He's staying there. That's your update. Conforto is staying. And I think that's it for baseball. It's a major storyline. So keep an eye on what's going on with Craig Counsell. A lot of guys available for free agency moves. Anybody could be available at this point. Again, there are some big bombshell moves there that could really shape the face of the league. I would say the biggest names are Cody Bellinger and Shohei Ohtani. Keep an eye on those two. We'll see where they go. That could affect a lot of how free agency turns out. A lot of you're talking about all-stars and potential franchise changers. So keep an eye on those main guys. As for the managerial stuff, we will see how that goes down the line. But I want to thank you all for tuning in today. That's going to do it for the show. I'm Brian Mansell. Thank you for tuning into the Brian Mansell Show. We'll be back tomorrow night. We'll be doing a play-by-play stream. I'll give you guys more details of what game we'll do later on. But until then, enjoy some basketball action today. Enjoy some hockey. And enjoy Monday Night Football. Once again, thank you all for tuning in. We're back tomorrow night, play-by-play. Don't miss it. We'll see you guys then. Thank you all for tuning in.